this is fun. This place is ready to shake. Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin, the visiting Seattle Seahawks are making their way onto the field, and the Green Bay Packers come out. A thunderous ovation for the team that won the North. Welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I don't even want to take you away from that scene, but I guess we have to. I'm Joe Buck along with Troy Aikman and Chris Collinsworth. I know it's cold. I probably have the chills anyway, but the way these fans get into their football around here, it gives you a little extra standing up here in the booth or anywhere near Lambeau Field. Now, we'll talk about the teams, and we'll talk about Brett Favre in particular. You talked earlier during the pregame show about Brett Favre not wearing the splint. After going through pregame warm-ups, he's decided to put that splint back on his broken right thumb. So that's a news story. Tell us, Chris, what you expect to see from this Green Bay Packer team today.
Well, you know, just everything seems to favor the Green Bay Packers. You're here at Lambeau Field, and everybody's waving the white hankies. You've got the great 1-2 offensive combination and Brett Favre and Amon Green. Defensively, the Packers have been playing so much better over the second half of the season. And yet, when you watch the Seattle Seahawks on film, there's just something about this football team. They're explosive offensively. They're willing to take chances on the defensive side. And Troy, the more we talked to them last night, the more I began to think these guys really do have a chance.
Well, there's no question, and there's no question that this team lacks the playoff experience that a Green Bay team does, but they're not happy just being here. They come into this game extremely confident after talking to these players last night. And so you ask yourself, how are they going to do it? I think the easy thing to say is, well, Matt Hasselbeck has to play well, and Sean Alexander has to run the football well. But really, this game comes down to this defense, and obviously how well they're able to stop the run. But I think the real key in this is defensive coordinator Ray Rhodes and matching wits, because the play action for Green Bay can be just as lethal.
Ray Rhodes, who was the head coach here in Green Bay in 1999. Now, another former head coach is Mike Holmgren, his third time back here to Green Bay. Heck, they even had Holmgren away here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. 6 weeks later, he bolted and went to Seattle. Right now, he's on the field, standing with Chris Myers.
All right, thanks, Joe. Coach, you never lost a playoff game here as head coach of the Packers. You come in here with your Seahawks. What'd you tell them as you took the field moments ago?
Well, it's kind of like what I told them. I said we didn't come in here and sweat and bleed and cry and all that stuff this season, come in here and lose this game. So we're going to play a good football game today. It helped that we came in earlier, and now we got to get this thing done. Yeah,
the game earlier in the year, you know Brett Favre as well as anyone. You're going against him here. What do you have to do to beat him and this Packer team today?
Well, we got to stop Amon Green, first of all, and tackle him, and then we have to make Brett more uncomfortable than he was in the first game. He kind of had his own way. So,
and offensively for you?
Offensively, we got to run the football. We have got to run the football, so we'll see if we can do that.
All right, good luck and stay warm.
Thanks, Chris.
All right.
All right.
Chris, thanks. Brett Favre is already throwing out winks left and right. What do we have in store for us today? The Seattle Seahawks, the Green Bay Packers. The winner goes on to Philadelphia next Sunday. Enjoy it. Old friends getting together before this game. It's Wild Card Weekend, and Mike Holmgren, his former student, Brett Favre, talking it over before the Seahawks take on the Packers. And we welcome you back to the broadcast booth. I'm Joe, that's Troy.
Hi, Joey.
My face is frozen. This is my Sprint PCS Vision phone, and we remind you to answer our question, our Sprint virtual coach question, by using Sprint PCS Vision or logging on to foxsports.com. That's all I got. Let's just play football, huh? You ready, Chris?
I am ready.
You ready, Troy?
I'm ready.
You're getting a lot of love. Troy, you're getting a lot of love from these people up here in Green Bay. You beat them at some point in your career, I know.
Yeah, I beat them a few times, actually.
Well, it's Seattle kicking away. Forget that. You look at the postseason records for the Seahawks. It's been a while since their last playoff win. In fact, 6,952 days since they beat the Raiders back in '84. Glad you're with us. Green Bay will get the ball to start. Kick return is taken by Fisher. He gets to the 25 and beyond. And so now Brett Favre, who has had really a terrific season. They've been running the ball more with Brett Favre at quarterback this year than they ever have. You look at his 207th consecutive start. That includes playoff action. And he is coming off a regular season in which he threw 32 touchdown passes to lead the league for the 4th time. But the focus for Seattle is number 30, the former Seahawk, Ahman Green. What a year Green has had. He gets it up to the 29. He picked up 2. And we look at the offense, and even though they've got a Pro Bowler and Marco Rivera, they have not received the national love they should, Troy, for the year they've had up front.
No, they probably haven't, and there probably were a couple of other players along that offensive line that very easily could have gone to the Pro Bowl as well.
Ahman Green, who is number 2 in the NFL, rushing yardage with 1,883, set all sorts of Packer records. Penalty flags, first throw. It's Bubba Franks, the tight end. He fights for a first down. Defensively, guys, there's going to be a lot of pressure up the middle, and that includes Rashad Moore, Randall Godfrey, and Ken Hamlin, a very hard-hitting free safety.
And Marcus Trufant, one of the better young cornerbacks in the game right now. He and Ken Hamlin, 2 rookies back there, so expect Brett Favre to go to work.
And you can see the name of Damian Robinson there starting at free safety, but we'll see plenty of Ken Hamlin, who is not starting for disciplinary reasons, according to Mike Holmgren. A gain of 1 for Ahman Green. 2nd down and 9.
And a decent start for Seattle's defense from the standpoint, if you're going to beat the Green Bay Packers, you're going to have to stop the run. And the first 2 opportunities that they've had to stop the run, they've been pretty stout in there. So now what you're doing is, and it sounds crazy, but everybody talks about it, you have to get the ball in the hands of Brett Favre and force him to throw it.
G.K. O'Keefer is on the bench getting looked at. Their top sack man. And all sorts of movement, which includes Mike Wall. But can you blame the guy? He's got a little forward
5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Club on his broken left hand.
Well, that was a concern coming into this game. Obviously, penalties are a big part of what happens during the course of a playoff game. Mike Sherman's so concerned with it this week that he had officials come in and officiate their practice to try to eliminate those types of penalties. Here they do. They have a false start on the first series.
2nd down and 14, and the pass is incomplete for Ferguson. He was blanketed on the play by Trufant. That'll bring up 3rd and 14.
Yeah, I think it's probably worth mentioning these wide receivers for Green Bay. All 3 of them are banged up and did not practice during the week until Friday. You got Robert Ferguson there. He's hampered with an Achilles injury. The biggest concern is Donald Driver, who's got an ankle sprain. Didn't know for sure whether or not he'd be able to play. Be interesting to see how these guys perform as the game moves along.
3rd down and 14. Over the middle, that's Driver. Bad ankle and all. Trufant wraps him up at the end. A gain of 6 on the play, and time for a Green Bay punt. So far, so good for the Seattle defense.
And I think that's a big deal for this football team. You know, you've got so many young players at so many key positions for the Seattle Seahawks. You just wondered how they would handle the pressure of the moment and how long it would take them to get their feet on the ground here at Lambeau Field. And at least defensively, they seem to be settled already.
Bobby Ingram is waiting for the punt from Bidwell. Like kicking a rock. It's a beautiful punt back to the 15. Ingram with a good return. Out across the 30, wrestled down after a 16-yard return by David Martin. We're glad you're with us on Fox. Wild Card Weekend, no score. Early at Lambeau. Well, they used to call him Mr. August around here because of how good he was during the preseason. Matt Hasselbeck, who was quoted as saying being linked with Brett Favre is one of the coolest things I have going for me. He is not ashamed at all with his love for Brett Favre and the way he admires the job he does at quarterback of the Packers. Hasselbeck, plenty of time. Corin Robinson is out of bounds with a first down. Talk about Hasselbeck and Mike Holmgren, who groomed Brett Favre and now is doing the same with Hasselbeck. And Troy, I think you asked him, you do anything different, try to ease him into this game, a big game, the biggest of his life, first playoff game? He said absolutely not.
And he didn't. He comes out and he throws on first down, and he told us last night that he wanted to get the running game going. He mentioned it again to our Chris Myers before the game today, and yet he opens up with a pass.
And now empty backfield. Hasselbeck fires, and he's got Robinson again. The most explosive receiver, if not the most controlled and studied. Corin Robinson has 2 catches. He has 16 yards this time, and the crowd is quiet at Lambeau.
You know, I really like this start for the Seattle Seahawks from the simple reason you get your quarterback in the game right away, and you're aggressive. You feel like you're coming out and attacking the Green Bay Packers, which is really what they feel like they didn't do the first time around.
Now to the running game, and Alexander. Fast start for the Seahawks as Alexander is inside the 35. And if anybody points to something along this front offensively for the Seahawks, it's how good their tackles are. And we heard that, Troy, to a man from this Green Bay defense.
Yeah, and I think it's really going to help them in this ball game because right tackle Chris Terry did not play in the first meeting, so they had to help him out with their running backs. They're not going to have to do that today. They'll be able to get 5 guys out in routes.
Alexander is dropped for a loss, and there's the difference maker for Green Bay. They just signed him to a 2-year extension, Grady Jackson.
And don't forget, he's playing over Floyd Porkchop Womack. And they told us last night they were going to check this match out right away. They wanted to get an opportunity to get Grady Jackson on the move. And that was a major hole in this defense. They were really struggling to try and stop the run. But Grady Jackson has come on and been such a factor since being acquired by this team. They actually today inactivated Gilbert Brown.
3rd down and 2. Play action. Pass is complete to Mealy, the tight end, and he's got a first down inside the 30, a gain of 9.
And really a nice call there by Mike Holmgren. Green Bay Packers decide to bring McKenzie off the edge right here. He's the corner, and had they have handed the ball off to Alexander, obviously he's going nowhere. They run the naked boot, they come out the backside, get the ball to the tight end, and they pick up the first down. And Seattle, that's an area where they really do a great job. Lead the league converting on 3rd downs.
Toss to Alexander. Sean Alexander with a great cutback. Alexander down to the 9.
Alexander, the ball carrier.
That's a play you're seeing more and more around the National Football League right now, that toss crack. And if you have wide receivers that can block, you can really get the corner on this edge. Now they're going to come down here, both receivers, seal that thing off. And Sean Alexander, I think, is really the key to this football game today. He fumbled on the 3rd play of the game the last time, seemed to take all the steam out of this team. And today you can just see he's much more emotional, much more ready to play.
Wanting the ball in the red zone, looking for an avenue to run, and he has stood up at the 10, lost a yard. You look at this defense, guys, and if there is a weakness, you think about a smallish middle linebacker, and then you look at the cornerback position, and Mike McKenzie and Al Harris are both banged up for the Packers defensively.
And they don't tackle very well, to be perfectly honest. That is what they think the Seattle Seahawks feel they can take advantage of. If they can get some runs to the outside, force these 2 cornerbacks to tackle, they think they can break off some big plays.
8th play of the drive. Number 8 hands off to Alexander, and Hunt brings him down with another loss.
Well, Cledius Hunt struggled at the beginning of this season, but he has steadily improved as the year has gone along, and he enters these playoffs playing much better. I think the presence of Grady Jackson has helped him in his own performance. Does a great job here. It's interesting, Chris, Sean Alexander told us last night that he really likes running in the A-gaps, those areas on the right and left side of the center. but he has got nothing so far there today.
3rd down and goal.
Hasselbeck for Morris. Out of bounds. Incomplete. 4th down.
You know, probably the difference there between a wide receiver running that route and a running back, because it was a great catch, but he just failed to drag that back foot. Going to get the front foot in and then just simply oversteps. Most receivers at that point would simply collapse to the ground, dragging the other foot or hitting a knee, and he would have had a touchdown, but he just simply couldn't get the other foot down.
Clearly out of bounds. Now a 30-yard try for the rookie Josh Brown. And the rookie is true. It's 3-0 Seattle, and Mike Holmgren, the old coach, is back. And on this wild card weekend, the Seahawks are on the board first. Yes, maybe the Seattle Seahawks didn't get into the end zone, but the start of this game is about as good as Mike Holmgren and the Seahawks could have hoped for. They get a stop defensively, they get a nice long drive, and end up with the first points of the day. Short kick, and it's taken by Davenport. Najee Davenport, the big running back, is out to the 36. There's a flag down. Bernie Kukar is our referee, and the penalty is against the Green Bay Packers.
Illegal block in the back. Number 99 of the receiving team during the run back. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Mike Holmgren, really the first head coach to step out of the shadow of Vince Lombardi here with the Packers and return this franchise to greatness. Now it's Seattle, and the Hawks are up 3.
Go back and take a look at this hold. It's Jamal Reynolds, number 99, who is going to be called for the hold. He's okay there, but there's the push in the back. The ball would have been on the 36. Now it's on the 16.
Big penalty against Reynolds, who has been a non-factor since he was drafted in the 1st round out of Florida State. As Amon Green makes a typical Amon Green run and picks up 8 with Seahawks on his back.
You know, Amon Green has just had an incredible year. There's no question, the former Seattle Seahawk, and got traded here to Green Bay in perhaps one of the worst trades of all time. But this guy is just simply so powerful, and you talk to some of the coaches, and they say on game day, they don't even talk to him, they don't even deal with him. He is just so far gone in a zone, in a world by himself, that they just love his intensity.
2nd down and 2, and Amon Green plows forward and is knocked down right at the marker. Depends on the spot. Looked like he got enough for a 1st down, but we'll wait and make sure. You talk about the worst trade, but for Green Bay, it's really one of the best trades. And the other guy, the guy that's handed him the ball, Brett Favre, and that was good for a 1st down, was another deal that was made with the Atlanta Falcons organization, and both trades were engineered by Ron Wolf, a guy who is sought after now to try to rebuild some other franchises around the NFL. And he is a guy who I'm sure is watching from Annapolis, Maryland, and he is a guy who should end up in the Hall of Fame, period. 1st down, Green Bay. Favre dumps it off to Martin, the tight end. Great tackling from Damian Robinson, who got the start at free safety. He came up and made the big hit, and a gain of only 1.
You know, David Martin is the move tight end, and so many times you'll see him come across and block. Well, this time they run the bootleg out of it, and Brett Favre now has become much more of a move quarterback. Very rarely anymore do you see Favre in just a drop back situation. They love the play action, they love the bootleg, and they can do it because Amon Green has had so much success.
Favre guns it wide open as driver for a 1st down at the 45. Bad thumb or not, it is kind of amazing when you see the kind of flexibility he has with that right thumb. He can get it out to the sideline better than anybody.
Well, he really can, and one of the reasons why is if you look at the protection that he's afforded, again, off the play action, they make everything look like running game, and that's why nobody's able to get the pressure on Brett Favre. You give him that kind of time, and these receivers will find ways to get open, and he's going to get the ball in their hands.
I love the route by Driver. He drove him off inside, got down low. Marcus Trufant's a great cornerback, really turned him around.
This is Davenport. Spinning and making the most of that run. He gets two, and Davenport and Fisher are two guys that have had terrific seasons, and they have been the guys to spell relief for Ahman Green.
Marco Rivera is going to try and pull and lead this, but the penetration is going to knock him off the route, and then all of a sudden there's just a big pile in the background and nowhere to run for Najee Davenport.
I tell you, the thing that they do so well is they'll go to that stack with their 2 and their 3 tight end package. They'll have everybody thinking that they're going to run strong side, but they've got a good variety of running plays coming off the backside, as we saw there.
Handoff is to Davenport, and he goes nowhere. That may have lost half a yard. 3rd down and long coming up for the Green Bay Packers. And while Green gets all the headlines, look at the yards per carry for Najee Davenport and Tony Fisher. All 3 of the guys 5 yards a carry or better.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting when you ask the coaches how it is that Ahman Green's been able to stay healthy this year. They say a big reason for it is the fact that they have been able to bring in Najee Davenport and Tony Fisher. But yet Ahman Green set career highs in carries this year, so he has remained healthy, but he's also had to carry the ball more than he has at any other point in his career.
Blitz coming from Seattle. They stay with it. Favre trying to beat it, and the pass is dropped by Antonio Freeman. The longtime Packer who is back. Favre put it in his gut, and he's got to be shocked that Freeman didn't come away with it.
He has so much confidence in Antonio Freeman. He was talking about him, really kind of hoping he got in this game because he thought the veteran player would be able to handle the pressure and the environment and would be so effective out here, but boy, that doesn't do much for the quarterback's confidence, and that was a big 1st down.
Another good punt from Bidwell. Back so good, it's into the end zone. It turns into a bad punt. Out to the 20 comes the football. Long-time adversaries John Randall, Brett Favre. Hooking up again. Randall smiling. Seattle's up 3. The first time the Seattle Seahawks were here in October, as Troy talked about earlier, Matt Hasselbeck tried to be too perfect, too laid back, trying to play with more emotion today. Like his idol, Brett Favre plays with, and he play actions to start this drive. Chased by Campman, and he is wrestled out of bounds at the 20, no gain.
Go back to that third down play here with Brett Favre, and he's in the middle of his cadence, and then he recognizes D.D. Lewis, number 54, starting to come off the edge. He sees it, he stops his cadence, and that's what you get when you have a veteran quarterback like Brett Favre, who's able to slow the cadence down and allow the lineman to not be at a disadvantage when the defense is trying to hit it on the run.
You could almost see him look at him like, I got you. I see you coming.
2nd down and 10, a toss to Alexander. Nowhere to go.
A little emotion now out of the Green Bay Packers. They had a bit of a sleepy start in that first drive of theirs, and Mike McKenzie really, I think, is going to be the key player in this ball game today. He's had the problem with the turf toe, and without question, they are going to have to challenge him early in this football game. Find out just how healthy he is. He's missed a couple of games, and at some point, I expect to see Darrell Jackson trying to get up top on him.
Well, this may be that time now. I know Mike Holmgren said they wanted to test it early. I'm surprised they haven't yet.
It's Robinson across from McKenzie here on 3rd down and 10. Hasselbeck looks that way. The catch is made, but McKenzie is on top of Robinson, short of a 1st down. So a quick 3 and out.
Warren Robinson already has had a couple of catches in this ball game, and he's the type of receiver that they want to get involved early. He has a tendency to get very frustrated if he doesn't get the ball early in ball games, and last time these two teams met, he had 8 receptions. Looks like he's going to be a big part of this offense again here today.
So that happens, huh? Receivers don't get too excited when they don't get the ball early. Ruin with a punt. And it checks up at the 45. So great field position for Green Bay. Mike McKenzie looking at Matt Hasselbeck saying, come get me, big boy. I practiced against you. I know you. I got you. 3-0 Seattle. Matt Hasselbeck will tell you, if you're going to be creative with Mike Holmgren as your head coach, it better work. And he's trying to play with emotion, but he's trying to keep it all within the system. So there's kind of a fine line there and a balance that Hasselbeck has to find today.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for him to find that right balance for what he's looking for.
Little pump fake, and now the throw. It's to Wesley Walls up in midfield, maybe a half-yard beyond into Seattle territory. A gain of 6.
You know, it seems like it's been a long time ago now since that Monday night game in Oakland where Brett Favre found out about his father and the loss of him. And Brett was telling us there's not a minute that goes by that he doesn't think about him. He still finds himself looking up in the luxury boxes where his dad would sit, and his big old head up there, you could pick him out from the crowd. But you can tell this has just been an awfully tough time for Brett Favre these last couple of weeks, trying to focus on football and yet all the stuff going on with his family as well.
His legend not only grew with what he did that night and the night before talking to his teammates around the NFL, but also with the guys with whom he shares that locker room. They found even more respect for their leader, Brett Favre. He has led them to 4 consecutive victories, trying to make it 5 and a win over Seattle. 1 quarter down. Quarter number 2 coming up from Green Bay. Next time, Big Fred will bring a straw.
You know, that's why kickers always use that single bar.
It's definitely less filling when you can't get it through your face mask. From midfield, Amon Green. Hit a wall, and then Chad Brown. Green landed in his lap, and Brown is hurt. The most explosive defensive player for the Seattle Seahawks is in a ton of pain. He kind of ended up with Amon Green on him after Green initially bounced off the first wall.
Well, he chased the play all the way around the back and then took him on. It was just really tough to tell exactly what happened to him. He's had the problem with the foot that he's been dealing with for the past 14 months. Can't tell if that's it or not.
Looked like he was grabbing his left leg. They check on him, and we'll take a break. They look at the left ankle, left foot of Chad Brown. It's 3rd down and 5. Pass is complete to Walker, and Javon Walker has a 1st down at the Seattle 40. Let's go back to the last play, and the injury looked like the left ankle of Chad Brown.
And this just absolutely has to be killing Chad Brown. Looks like his foot got rolled up underneath him. You see it down here in the mix. Try to circle that, but this guy has been waiting for so long for a playoff opportunity, and it was the reason he came here. It was the reason he almost didn't come here, because he said, you guys have to convince me we have a chance to go to the playoffs, and such a dominant force.
Favre has a receiver wide open on the sideline, Driver, and he has it right at the 35-yard line. Gain of 6.
And you go back to Chad Brown and what he means to this football team as a linebacker. This guy does not leave the field. He's a linebacker on 1st and 2nd down, and then on 3rd down is when he goes to the defensive end position and rushes the passer. And so there's not another guy quite like him on this football team. They're going to miss him if he's unable to come back and play in this ball game.
D.D. Lewis in the game now, but it is sort of ironic. This was the first week that every single one of these linebackers have been able to practice.
71, Kevin Berry is eligible. An extra tackle brought in. Favre gets a block. Javon Walker needs to make a move, and what a play. What a play by Sean Springs, a loss of 8.
Well, there for a minute it looked like they might have had something after Brett Favre was able to make the block, but Sean Springs, he reads it out and is not fooled. He's able to come up and make the play. You're going to see Sean Springs right here. He holds his ground, does a great job of not pursuing, and he's right there to make a tackle in open field. Not an easy job to do.
Give a little credit to Lamar King as well. He threw Walker off course just long enough to set up that play.
Now it's 3rd down and 12. Favre airs it out down the middle. Martin, the tight end, jumped too soon. And Brett Favre, I think, is surprised at what he saw downfield, and so is Aikman.
Chris, we were wondering how long it would take for Brett to throw one up like this.
Well, I thought it slipped. I couldn't even tell. You know, it's that's Brett Favre. You know, there's no other way to say it. The guy on occasion will just simply take one and launch it like a punt up the field and give his guys a chance.
3rd punt of the day for Bidwell is drilled into the end zone. The fans here don't appreciate that effort. The reaction by Brett Favre. I don't think it was about the throw. I think it was about the leap by Martin. Hands on the helmet. Still 3-0. It's Green Bay. It's Lambeau Field.
You know, I finally figured out why they do that cheese thing. Not only is it warm, but if it snows, it keeps the snow off, too.
And what have they been throwing up here since we walked into the booth, Troy?
Well, plus, it's just a great look, you know. I mean, who wouldn't look good in a cheese head?
You would. You know that. But we've been getting Wisconsin cheddar cheese in the shape of a football tossed at us.
That's Steve Horn's look right there.
Horn look. 1st down and 10 from the 20. Hasselbeck looked right, now back across, nowhere to go. He's in trouble and drops it off over the middle, incomplete. Grady Jackson with pressure. Let's go down to Chris Myers.
Chad Brown has been taken to the locker room for x-rays. It's a left ankle sprain. He had a foot injury during the year, which cost him to miss 2 games, and it was the first time the last couple of weeks when all 3 of the Seattle starting linebackers were practicing together. They'll have an update on Chad Brown at the half.
Well, you said anybody looks good in a cheese head.
How about that look?
He needed
So we need a cheese head for Chris.
Give that boy some cheese.
Stay warm down there, Chris.
2nd down and 10. Alexander gets a 1.5 yards over the left side. 3rd and long coming up for Seattle.
I tell you, boy, they keep trying to run the ball inside, and what we've seen when Seattle's been able to have some success on the ground, it's been more on the perimeter, and that really fits Sean Alexander a little bit better than trying to run up inside. There just has not been any movement along that interior offensive line.
Gilbert Brown is inactive for this game, so allowed on Grady Jackson. 3rd and 8. Hasselbeck in trouble. Throws it away, and there's no penalty flag down. It's 4th down anyway. Cledius Hunt with pressure on Hasselbeck.
Well, they bring pressure, but the offensive line actually does a relatively decent job. The problem is there's nowhere to go with the football. Darrell Jackson there being covered by Mike McKenzie, and nowhere for Hasselbeck to unload it.
The definition of a late flag. We were already into the replay, and they threw a flag. It's intentional grounding. Loss of down. It's going to be 4th down, and it will just cost Seattle some yards. It certainly looked like intentional grounding.
On the quarterback. That's also loss of down.
Well, he never gets out of the tackle box, despite the fact that he's scrambling. If he had left the tackle box and come back in, then he could have simply thrown it to the line of scrimmage, but he never did leave that area.
Well, one thing that Hasselbeck will do is he'll rush sometimes too much into the pocket. If he had just stepped up a couple of steps, he would have been afforded a little bit more time. Running up inside got him in a little trouble.
Ruin. Nice high hanging punts, and the fair catch called for by Chapman. And he takes it in at the Green Bay 49, a 39-yard punt. Packers great field position, down by 3. Days, that music made for the late John Facenda, longtime voice of NFL film. Penalty flag, should be a free play. by William Henderson.
Touch him.
What an unbelievable adjustment by the fullback Henderson in what seemed to be a free play, with Cochran jumping offside, ends up in a 29-yard completion.
Well, and Brett Favre, he knows that he's got the free play. That's why he throws it up. A great catch by William Henderson. I'm not so sure anybody touched him when he was on the ground.
Penalty is declined.
He could have gotten up and ran with the football. No contact yet there.
Right there.
Right there on the knee.
I think Randall Godfrey almost wrenched his back trying to get back to the football. And how a fullback is able to make that sort of adjustment and get back to make the catch, pretty amazing bit of athleticism there.
And it is clear now that with the ball going in this direction, any ball that's thrown or kicked seems to get hung up in the wind. That thing just sat up there, and Henderson made the adjustment. Amon Green. Boy, it's pretty to watch him run. Wrestled down at the 15-yard line, a gain of 6.
And that's the first decent run we've seen out of Amon Green. He was averaging just 1 yard per carry before that run. Maybe establishing himself now.
And I think when you look at it, you're going to see the left guard, Mike Wall, along with Nick Lucci. They come out, so you've got 2 lead blockers for Amon Green. And when he's able to find a hole, I don't think there's anybody better in the game at getting going north and south and getting those shoulders square than there is in Amon Green.
Great, just glides.
Oh, it's unbelievable watching him run, just as smooth as can be.
Barry is in as an extra blocker, and this time no gliding, just Green putting his head down and plowing into the line, a gain of only 1.
Well, the Seahawks know that when Kevin Barry comes in the game at that tight end position, that it is almost all run for the Green Bay Packers. That time you saw a 9-man defensive front. They were simply going to take their chances against the pass with that formation, and that time it paid off.
So here's the question. 3rd down and 3, down by 3, the ball inside the 15. How much do you love your running game? Bring in the fullback. Henderson's back in. You've got him on Green, or do you put it in Favre's hands?
I think that's the beauty of Green Bay. At 3rd and 3, most teams would be forced to throw. Green Bay has the luxury of being able to pick a first down up running the ball.
Favre looking into the end zone. Short of it, it's batted down by Simmons. Terrific play by Simmons to get up, knock it down, and force 4th down.
You know, Anthony Simmons is a lot of things, and you get him a big guard running at him, and sometimes he can get knocked off the ball. But this guy is perhaps the most athletic linebacker in football. He really got up, skied for that one. It looked like a first down all the way, and I'm sure Brett Favre thought that it was when he let it go. And Simmons just made a great, great play.
So now the attempt to tie it by Longwell. Drill. There's no doubt that that is playing into the wind, and the 31-yard try is good. The reaction by Simmons, not happy enough to knock it down. He wanted the pick. He forces the field goal, and we're tied at 3. Thing is paper thin. Chad Brown is back at least near the field of play, back out from the locker room, and Longwell kicks it into the wind. This thing hangs up at the 30. Takes a bounce, and it is returned by Kerry Carter. They're going to mark him down at the 32. Chris Myers in his hat and that Elmer Fudd look. Chris, it's all yours.
I'm trying to stay warm. You know, Brett Favre is staying warm, Joe, by he has this belt pack, and inside that he has a series of hot bags. These are heating elements, and he'll go through 20 or 30 during the game, according to the trainer. They not only keep his hands warm to grip the ball, but they're especially helpful to that annoying thumb that has been bothering him. Joe?
All right,
Chris, it looks like you need to get a couple of those.
Put one under your hat.
That's on the field. They're really kind of strewn all over the field here at Lambeau. Favre grabs him, uses him, then throws him out. That pass is over the middle from Mealy, who's become a big target for Matt Hasselbeck. And he has a first down at the 44-yard line. Next week, the NFL's second season continues. And we know that Saturday, the Panthers, dominating defense, will head to St. Louis to take on the Rams. That's 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. And then Sunday, the winner of this game will be in the city of brotherly love, Troy, to take on the Philadelphia Eagles, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, right here on Fox. Play action pass, Hasselbeck looking for Ingram. He was waiting for it. He's got it. And a first down inside the Green Bay 30.
I'll tell you, I really disagree right now with what what Green Bay is doing defensively. They're just dropping back into their zones. That time just got Darren Sharper turned around, but they came out in the last series and they blitzed Matt Hasselbeck. He really looked uncomfortable, and now they come out in this series, first 2 downs, and they don't try and bring any pressure whatsoever.
First down, Seattle from the 28. Alexander trying to get to the edge. Sean gets there, and a nice gain on first down of 5+. Al Harris on the tackle.
You know, we saw there Sean Alexander getting in behind the fullback Max Strong, and this guy's been in the league 11 years and making his second playoff appearance. And in talking with Sean Alexander yesterday, he really feels comfortable running behind him. He feels that Max Strong is one of the most underrated fullbacks in the league, doesn't get near the attention that he deserves, but he does a great job being the lead blocker for this football team.
Second down and 4. Sprint out to the right, and the pass is caught by Jackson, his first reception of the day. Am I the only guy up here that thinks that the Carolina Panthers are more dangerous than people give them credit for?
Well, you know what happened there? They were able to get some of their people healthy. They clinched that division so early because of Tampa Bay's failings and what happened down there, that all of a sudden Stephen Davis started looking like Stephen Davis, and that team and that offensive line, they can take over.
Last night they did against the Dallas Cowboys, and bouncing Bill Parcells at the end of a tremendous season in Dallas. That pass for Bannister too far. Out of bounds, incomplete. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Yeah, and Matt Hasselbeck threw that ball about the only place that he could give Bannister a chance to catch it, because Mike McKenzie was playing the outside receiver, and Bannister is also playing the inside guy. And if he threw it where he could catch it and keep it in bounds, more than likely McKenzie would have been there to make the play.
Darrell Jackson on the other side saying, hey, they forgot about me, and so did Hasselbeck at 2nd and 10. Four-man rush, and that ball slipped out of the hand of Hasselbeck. Right now they're ruling it a live ball. A live ball being returned for an easy touchdown by the rookie Barnett.
It'll come back. It won't count. It's a tuck rule.
It certainly looked like it.
It absolutely is a tuck rule. That will not count, I guarantee you.
But let's say this. The officials, by calling it this way, at least leave open the option, if it was a fumble, that the touchdown would stand. But this, I would imagine, will be reviewed. Let's take our own quick look at it.
Look at the Packers. They're sprinting out there to try and kick this extra point.
Forget the touchdown.
Yeah, Holmgren saw it the whole way. This one's coming back. There's no question that is the tuck rule, and that will come back as an incomplete pass.
And Mike Holmgren has to, in essence, waste a challenge. He will challenge this, and I don't see how they can call that anything but an incomplete pass.
And Joe, I think you make a great point. It does cost them a challenge. So if they were...
Seattle is challenging the ruling on the field of a fumble.
So if the officials were doing what you were talking about, Troy, which I think they were as well, in other words, let the play go, and then it can obviously be challenged.
That was me that said that.
Sorry about that. That was a good point. You made
Thanks.
2 good points in one thing.
Thanks.
But it does. It costs them a challenge, and you only get 2 per game, and so it is a big deal.
Well, and that's why, as we've talked about over the course of this year, I think that as long as you're right on a challenge, you shouldn't lose that challenge, whether it's the last challenge, you're losing one, or keeping both of them. I just think that if they're going to have instant replay and you're going to have challenges, then coaches, if they're right, should not lose the opportunity to continue challenging plays, regardless of how long the game takes to play. Let's get it right.
You make it, you take it. Like in basketball, you stay hot, you win your last challenge, you keep your last challenge available. But now the Seattle Seahawks will be down to 1 challenge the rest of the day, because they have to make Bernie Kukar go over and look at this under the hood.
And we also know that these officials have been instructed, if there's any doubt, make the ruling on the field an incompletion. That did not happen here, and that again is one of the reasons why Mike Holmgren will be losing a challenge.
But Hasselbeck and Holmgren have to be talking about over on the sideline is what to do on the ensuing play, which will be 3rd down and 10 back at the other end of the field as we all expect the points to come off the board for Green Bay. And Seattle will have the ball at the 17-yard line, 3rd down and 10. Barnett was there, by the way, and it was the rookie who they're really high on around here in Green Bay who made the pickup and returned for the touchdown.
Yeah, they really are high on Nick Barnett, and rightfully so. I mean, this young man has played well for it being his rookie season. Nice job there with the awareness picking up the ball.
After reviewing the play, it is an incomplete pass. 3rd down.
Somewhere, somebody in Oakland is saying that's a tuck rule, not what Tom Brady did a couple of years ago.
Somewhere, somebody in Oakland ought to be saying, what happened?
No, that was a tuck rule 2 years ago, too. All those folks in Oakland, they don't know what they're talking about.
At least there was contact on that one, too. You know, it was sort of a bang-bang play. This one's pretty easy.
So the ball is at the 17. It's 3rd down and 10. And Hasselbeck and the Seattle Seahawks get another chance.
Well, I definitely do not believe that you play conservatively down here. Obviously, they're in field goal position, but I think you've got to put the ball in Hasselbeck's hands and let him try to pick up this 1st down.
Plenty of time on the play clock. Hasselbeck looks right the whole way, and Robinson can't come down with it. Corin Robinson had it. Hasselbeck made a perfect throw, and Robinson could not make the connection.
Joe, he made an absolute perfect throw. They got the perfect coverage for the route that they have called. McKenzie gets outside. They run the slant up inside, and Corin Robinson, this has been the downfall of him. He's an exceptional player. He's got tremendous talent. The sky's the limit for him, but he has a tendency to drop passes.
And you go back to the first game between these two teams, and what happened? In the red zone, they drop touchdown passes, and they do it again.
That is a terrific job by Ruin, who fumbled the snap initially to get it down, and Brown is 2 for 2 today. But the question is, how many chances are you going to get? And Corin Robinson has to put the hat over his face, embarrassed after not coming down with a catch for what looked like a touchdown, but through his hands, and it's 6-3 Seattle. You talk about the connections between these two teams, and they are really there anywhere you look, whether it's Mike Holmgren and the job that he did as the Packers head coach from 92 to 98. Ray Rhodes was the head coach in 99. Now the defensive coordinator. Hasselbeck was the understudy for Brett Favre. Amon Green was traded here to Green Bay, and Mike Sherman went with Holmgren, was the offensive coordinator, and then came back here as the head coach, and he runs the whole show here now in Green Bay.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting talking to Mike Holmgren last night and him saying that he wasn't surprised that Mike Sherman got the opportunity to come here to Green Bay to be the head coach. A little bit surprised that it happened as fast as what it did, but saw from a very early on stage when he was working for Mike Holmgren that this guy, he gets in there, he studies, he's a very hard worker. He's done a great job since coming here to Green Bay as their head coach.
Here's that odd look with Seattle prior to a kick. This kickoff hangs up, bounce down at the 20, and Fisher will take it in around the 10. And he and the Packers are happy he can get it back to the 20-yard line.
Well, just keep in mind, anytime we start talking about field goals at some point later in the game, we haven't seen a kickoff go beyond the 20-yard line yet. I mean, this is a frozen ball, and there's a lot of wind swirling around out there. There's going to be a lot of pressure on these kickers if it ever comes down to that.
Well, I just think it's a shame that Matt Hasselbeck is quietly having a really good game throwing the ball in these kinds of conditions, and he's put the ball on the money now a couple of times, and they just miss out on a golden opportunity to come away with a touchdown on that last possession.
Hasselbeck, the first time these two teams met in October, found himself on the sideline watching Brett Favre play quarterback. Favre airs it out down the middle for Walker. Javon Walker has a first down at the 36 of Seattle. And if Hasselbeck was watching, he just saw a 44-yard completion from Brett Favre.
Let me tell you who's responsible for that deep pass. It's Amon Green. The Seahawks were playing 9 guys up around the line of scrimmage. They had no safety deep. And for Brett Favre, this is easy. They've got everybody up there worried on first down about stopping him. Now you've got no safety help down the field for Sean Springs, who, to be honest with you, at this point in his career probably needs a little.
Well, we talked a little bit earlier about the job that Ray Rhodes, defensive coordinator, was going to be doing. But right here, when you've got an opportunity to, they're showing run early, and so Ray Rhodes, he brings up the 8th guy. It's one-on-one on the outside, and Sean Springs just unable to make a play.
Javon Walker got up, started to walk away, then went down on a knee and onto his back. A guy who's been bothered with tendonitis in his hamstring pops up and looks to be okay. Much to the delight of the fans here at Lambeau Field. It's a first down, the ball at the Seattle 36.
And I think that guy right there, Troy, has made such a difference for this football team in the second half of the season. We talked about Brett and the way that he likes to throw up balls on occasion, but Javon Walker has gone up and got quite a few of those.
Comparison to Favre and Hasselbeck. Haven't seen a lot of Amon Green, and that one took off on Favre through the hands of Driver.
You just don't see that very often. Donald Driver was just wide open. The execution of the play absolutely perfect. Driver maybe just did a smart thing and stopped his route and sat down, and Brett Favre tried to throw a laser shot in there, and it just got away from him.
Second and 10.
How did you as a receiver like those laser shots on days like these?
Oh man, I couldn't even handle the one Troy was throwing me out here last time we were here. Oh, it was only about 30 then.
Second down and 10 for the Packers. Favre has started 9 out of 14. Setting up a screen. Amon Green. Still on his feet as a first down. Brought down at the 23. Monty Kiffin, the defensive coordinator of the Buccaneers, will tell you this is the best screen team in the league because their offensive linemen do not miss blocks downfield.
That's exactly right, Joe. And Mike Wall's not going to miss the block either. I mean, he's your left guard, and then he comes out, and he's the lead protector for Amon Green right there. And look at the lane that Amon Green has to get up inside. And then along with that, you have the missed tackles, which was a big part of the downfall for this defense in their first matchup.
Amon Green. Nice play by Simmons, who made the deflection in the red zone, the last possession for Green Bay. And with under 5.5 to go in the half, the Packers are within field goal range as they trail by 3.
I just think that it's such a hard offense to try to defense if you're Ray Rhodes calling the defensive plays for the Seattle defense. When you're talking about trying to stop a runner like Amon Green with behind that offensive line, and then when you get the play action pass coming off it, which we've seen a number of times already, you just don't know what's coming.
So Ken Hamlin is back in the lineup for Seattle. Javon Walker is back in the lineup for Green Bay. Favre looks for Franks. Touchdowns, Green Bay. Straight playoff games with a touchdown pass, an NFL record for Brett Favre.
And I think that was an audible by Brett Favre right there. It looked like it was going to be that fullback flat play, and he just turned around and threw it to the slant.
Not only 14 straight, but 31 overall playoff touchdown throws from Brett Favre. And this time it's Bubba Franks, his big tight end, on the receiving end.
And Bubba Franks is such a big target, literally, down here in the red zone, and you're able to do so many things with him. They line him up, they run him just right down the field. You're going to see him. You got the overplay here, which opens it up there for Bubba Franks, and there's a lot of margin for error if you're a quarterback. You get it up high, you give him an opportunity to make the play, and he normally is able to come down with the ball.
And then he got a tackle at the end of the play from Brett Favre, celebrating Deanna Favre, Brett's wife, and it's been a crazy 2-week ride for that couple with everything that's happened personally And then professionally with Brett Favre, with the loss of his father Irv, the night he had on Monday night in Oakland, the game he had last week against Denver, the thrill of finding out that the Minnesota Vikings had been eliminated on that final throw from McCown to Poole, and then coming out here, and after losing at home in the wild card playoff weekend to the Atlanta Falcons last year, leading 10-6 with 4.5 to go in the half today. Bobbled by Carter, and Carter is out to the 24.
Well, Bubba Franks was flanked out wide, and it came in short motion, and Brett stopped him right there. Now it's going to look like they're going to hit Henderson in the flat. You're going to see all the defenders react up to Henderson. This is their audible play, but instead he turns around and fires it down to Franks for the easy touchdown.
Well, I think now you go back to that last possession by Seattle and the fact that they were unable to capitalize with the touchdown. You've got to be able to score touchdowns when you get in the red zone in these playoff games.
Hasselbeck trying to answer. That ball's not free. A loose ball, and it's recovered back at the 10. Robbie Tolbeck, the center, was back to get on top of it.
Dangerous time right now for the Seattle Seahawks. They cannot allow this game to get away from them right here. Hasselbeck looks like he's a little bit rattled out there right now. The crowd's starting to get into it. He's getting pressure from the backside, holding the ball longer than he probably should. You cannot give the Green Bay Packers this game in the last 4 minutes of this half.
Alexander goes nowhere, and Big Grady Jackson brings down Alexander. Loss of 4 on the play.
You know, we talked about Sean Alexander a little bit earlier and the things that he likes to do. He's not a physical downhill type runner. As soon as he gets this pitch, he's looking to cut it back. He doesn't trust that it's going to be there on the front side. You've got Grady Jackson, Mike McKenzie, the corner, coming off the backside, and there's nothing there. If he had stayed front side where the play was designed to go, he could have at least been able to pick up some positive yards.
And Grady Jackson right now is kicking some tail inside. He's getting all kinds of penetration and disrupting things.
Dumped off to Alexander, and he is dumped by Harris.
That's just great recognition by Al Harris, sniffing out the screen pass and then being able to come in and make the play. Both Al Harris and Mike McKenzie are extremely physical corners, and Ed Donatel, the defensive coordinator right there, did a great job of calling defensive plays on that possession.
Ruin. Big pressure. Ruin just got it away, and Chapman will take it from the 45 and take a seat at the 40. If you go back to that missed opportunity with Corin Robinson on what could have been a touchdown throw from Matt Hasselbeck, the Seahawks come up with 3 points. Brett Favre and the Packers go right back down the other way, get the first touchdown of the day. That effort defensively by Green Bay, and this whole feel of the game has changed within the last 5 minutes.
Now we're at that uh-oh moment. You know, if you're a Seattle fan, you're sitting there thinking uh-oh, because they've already seen this year the Green Bay Packers go 5 straight drives with touchdowns, and you're over there all huddled up on the bench trying to stay warm. You ought to jump up and get in the football game a little bit. This is a key moment.
Former Packer head coach Ray Rhodes has got to figure out a way to stop the Packers here. As that's dropped off to Henderson, the fullback. He's hit by Tongue and Simmons. Brought down at the 35, a gain of 4.
And I think what we're seeing right now is Brett Favre is starting to heat up a little bit, and they're starting to throw the ball more and more on 1st and 2nd downs. And the last thing Seattle needs is Brett Favre getting a hot hand.
So good in December and January. So good in the cold weather. Heating up Brett Favre. Packers lead by 4. In Green Bay, Chad Brown injured in the first quarter, standing and watching. Favre is hit as he let it go. Driver makes the catch. Another one up for grabs, and it's a Packer who grabs it.
This is starting to look like the Oakland game all over again.
But Chris, I got to tell you, Marcus Trufant was right there in perfect position to make a play on this ball. He sees the ball in the air the entire time. He gets turned, he locates it, he never gets back to try to make a play on it.
Looked like he maybe twisted his ankle just a little bit right at the end. Randall Godfrey's coming on a blitz, and he just barely misses getting there on time. But once again, just like we saw in the Oakland Monday Night Football game, Brett Favre's going to give his guys a chance to make a play, and then say, you almost got there, big guy.
Penalty flags and whistles before the snap. It's a false start.
I got to tell you, when Brett Favre starts giving butt slaps,
76 offense.
That's a bad
5-yard
sign for
penalty.
defense.
yeah, I mean, you better buckle up your chin strap. We're going to be an air assault out there. I mean, usually that's when he starts getting pretty fired up. And, you know, Brett's obviously enjoying himself out there today and having a great first half in this ball game. Now, to go back to Marcus Trufant, that's been the Achilles heel for this defense all season long. Not only pass defense, but they have not played the deep ball well at all.
Each team has all 3 of their timeouts remaining. A toss to Green. He's done that all year. It didn't look like there was much there. That little hesitation and a pickup of 8 yards.
You know, this is the zone play that Green Bay runs so well, and a lot of times it looks like nothing's going to be there, but Ahman Green can be so patient at times. It's just everybody coming this direction. And so you just have to wait for the crack, and sometimes the crack ends up being all the way to the outside, but you see him just set it up to the inside, knowing that it would suck everybody down, and then able to loop around to the outside.
Yeah, Seattle actually played that pretty good, you know, strung it all the way out to the boundary, and he's still able to pick up yards.
The fiery Larry Bechtel, the offensive line coach. Proud of his guys this season. Favre keeps it. Now for Franks, off his hands and incomplete. Favre had all day. That'll bring up 3rd and 7.
Yeah, they block up with 8 guys, and that's why he had the time to throw the ball. Problem with that is they only put 2 guys into the route. They were hoping that the play action would suck some guys up and then open up Bubba Franks and the others. But you're going to take a look. You're going to have him coming across the back line, and then you got the fullback getting out as well, but just nowhere to throw the football. Even having said that, they had a chance.
Franks, who caught the first one.
Such a big moment in the game right now. Seattle really needs a play.
3rd down and 7. Favre with more time, and that's out of the back of the end zone.
And Chris, as you mentioned, that right there is really a win for the Seattle defense to get out of this drive, only giving up potentially a field goal and 3 points is huge.
Well, especially when you consider Chad Brown's out of the game, who is their emotional leader and one of their pass rushers. G.K. O'Keefer, the other guy, has a sprained ankle already in this game. So we're seeing the result. Not a lot of pressure on Brett Favre. So you're right, to get out of this with just 3 would be a real win.
27-yard drive from Longwell. And it's a 7-point game. The Green Bay Packers and Brett Favre, 41-12 in December and January since '92. Trying to take care of the Seattle Seahawks today and force a date in Philadelphia next Sunday. Lead by 7 with 46 seconds remaining. Seattle will get it back, and they will have all 3 of their timeouts remaining in case they want to get ultra aggressive here at the end of the half.
Yeah, and if I'm Seattle, I don't think that I do unless you get a great return here to where you put yourself in a legitimate position to try to get some points. But if you're backed up anywhere, I would say between the 10 and 35-yard lines, I'm not so sure that I wouldn't just be content right now going in 7 points down.
The only reason that I may think otherwise on that one is I just know as a player that when we were aggressive at the end of the first half, it seemed to carry over a little bit into the second half. And I know what you're saying. You certainly don't want to give up anymore, and they're not in a bad spot right now. But if they could get something on a return, and remember, these kicks haven't been going past the 20-yard line, so they should be able to get it out to the 35 or so, and then I think they need to go for it.
Yeah, and then the other part of it is Josh Brown, his long field goal for this year took place in week 5 here at Lambeau Field, a 58-yarder. So obviously he's got to feel at least good about kicking in these elements as well.
Little different day, though, weather-wise, between right now and October, when these two teams met the first time this season. From inside the 15, Maurice Morris. Seahawks need a good return, and they get a decent return. Pretty good field position out across their own 30, as Morris is knocked down at the 32. So 41 seconds remain, and Matt Hasselbeck and the Seahawks have 3 timeouts if they want to push it downfield.
Yeah, one of the things we used to always do is we come out here and you're trying to figure out whether or not you're going to go into the 2-minute offense and in fact try to come away with points prior to the half. Come out, run a screen pass, run a draw, something to try to determine, did you pick up enough yards there on first down to warrant going into the no-huddle offense? See what they try to do here. They go empty.
Hasselbeck down the sideline. Morris makes an adjustment, incomplete. Penalty flag on the play. The penalty flag is way back near the line of scrimmage, and Seattle indicating it's against Green Bay.
There are actually 2 flags down, one in the middle of the field and one back at the line of scrimmage.
I think right now one of the big differences in this game.
That could be on McKenzie getting his hands up. And then there is also
illegal use of hands. 34 defense. Hands to the face. That's a 5-yard penalty. First down.
Yeah, I think one of the big differences in this game right now is the fact that the Green Bay Packers have been able to come back and make some of these plays. That's the hands to the face right there on McKenzie. But Morris had a chance to come back and make the catch on that ball, and he was unable to do so.
For the second time, he had the one in the end zone as well.
35 seconds to go. Five-man rush, and there's another drop. This time it's Alexander, and Hasselbeck in his return to Green Bay, second time this season, is not getting much help.
And I think it's got to be very important right now for Matt Hasselbeck to recognize what's happening. He is really throwing the ball well. He's put the ball right there on the numbers. You see another one bounce off of Sean Alexander, and because he's played well, he's got to be having some frustrations because of the number of drop balls, and somehow he's just got to keep fighting through this and realize that sooner or later these guys are going to start making plays for him.
Maybe.
Blitz coming. The Seahawks run right by it with Alexander, and Cledius Hunt came back to make the tackle. He wasn't alone in a gain of only 5. And now Seattle will take a timeout. So with third down facing the Seahawks, they want to keep on pressing. They call it timeout. Here in Green Bay, Miss Pam Oliver, who is with her mother Mary. James Brown talking about it on the pregame show. Mary doing very well after a procedure that was done. Pass is thrown to Robinson, and it hit the back of McKenzie. Incomplete. Fourth down is coming up with 20 seconds to go.
Well, for all the good throws Matt Hasselbeck has made, that was a very strange one. Never had a chance at all. Just threw a line drive bullet. Maybe they were thinking maybe they could get the pass interference call, trying to come back through the defender who didn't have his head turned around. But really no opportunity at all.
And I think if there's any question as to how healthy Mike McKenzie's toe is, pretty good indicator there, the fact that he comes up on that play and is in press and does a nice job on it.
A right toe sprain. He had missed the last 2 games. Ruin is just happy to get it away. And it looks more and more like we're going to end this half at 13-6. The ball is down with 9 seconds remaining, and if there's any doubt that the Green Bay Packers will just take a knee, and that'll be your halftime score.
You know, we have talked about the problems these receivers have been having, and they had a major problem earlier in the season trying to catch balls, and it got so bad that Trent Dilfer actually started taking the guys out in pregame warm-ups and throwing them more balls, trying to get some of that out of their system before they started the game. There's no question the difference in this first half has been the inability of these Seattle receivers to make plays.
Are they ready back in the studio for the Visa halftime? We in Green Bay send it to you. The Packers, with the fans loving it here in Lambeau. Welcoming back Mike Holmgren at the half, 13-6. The Packers over the Seahawks. The Visa halftime report coming up after this from your local Fox station. The first half in pictures here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, 13-6. The Packers on top, and I think as we get ready for the second half, Joe, Troy, and Chris with you, I think we said it at the end of the half. It looked like Seattle survived to get this game to halftime, only being a 7-point game. But clearly they've got to do something to get something rolling, and that really starts with guys making catches for Matt Hasselbeck.
Well, I don't think there's any question, Joe. And Seattle defensively, they've given up a lot of yards. Brett Favre is throwing the ball extremely well right now, but they've done a great job of shutting down Amon Green, and they're not giving up too many points. And offensively, they've got to start capitalizing on their opportunities.
Yeah, really neither running game has done much of anything so far in this first half. So it's going to come down to these two quarterbacks. But the one thing we have seen, though, is that the Packers have done a better job of protecting Brett Favre than have the Seattle Seahawks.
Ball came off the tee, blew off the tee. It is a windy and cold day here in Green Bay. And so the whole Lucy and Charlie Brown and Snoopy, that whole act happens as the ball is knocked down. And thankfully for the back and leg of Ryan Longwell, he recognized that the ball wasn't sitting on the tee as he made his way toward it.
They usually like to steal a glance at the thing as they're coming up there.
I would think, but you never know. Always trick Charlie Brown. He always ended up on his back.
Despite the fact that we were screaming at the tee.
That's right.
Don't do it, Charlie.
Seattle gets it to start the second half, and a line drive kick, by far the best of the day. This is taken by Maurice Morris from inside the 10. He got out to the 25. They'll mark him at the 26, and let's check in with Chris Myers. Chris?
An update on linebacker Chad Brown for Seattle. The x-rays were negative on that ankle. They've wrapped the ankle, but he is questionable, unlikely to return. And the talk on the sideline here in Seattle was if they didn't have the drop balls, they'd have the lead. And some of the players were talking about how hard the ball, they're trying to deal with the cold, but they feel that the ball, how hard it is affecting them gripping the ball. Joe?
All right, Chris. Well, it's 29 degrees.
The ball's frozen.
29 degrees back in Seattle, at least earlier today. They had some snow in Seattle. They had a bad week weather-wise up there. They're now trying to play it. A pass is caught by Jackson, makes a move, and a nice big gain on the first play from scrimmage here in the second half to the Green Bay 49, a pickup of 25 yards.
Yeah, and Darrell Jackson, he's really their possession guy, and these are the kind of routes that he excels at. You're going to see it's a pivot route. Starts inside, gets Mike McKenzie running as though he's going to run the drag, comes back out of it, and then at that point, once he gets the ball in his hands, just him making some people miss.
You kind of get the feeling Hasselbeck is going to start looking for Jackson. That pass is caught by Mealy, and Mealy has really been the other sure-handed receiver on this cold day in Green Bay, but Jackson is the guy that of the three wide receivers Hasselbeck has the most confidence with.
Yeah, we talked to him last night, and he said that all things being equal in a pass route, if he has a choice on who he's going to throw the ball to, Darrell Jackson is the guy that he trusts the most.
From the 34-yard line on first down, Alexander breaks free from one tackle. Turns it into a nice gain. Grady Jackson was there first. And Alexander ends up with an 8-yard pickup.
Does this look like the exact same start to the second half that they used to start the game? Come out with a couple of passes, then run Sean Alexander. Wouldn't be surprised if Mike Holmgren said, you know what, let's just go back to the script, guys. It worked so well in the first half. Let's come right back to it.
Yeah, and again, the yards that Sean Alexander got there were on the perimeter. And with Grady Jackson up inside, Cledius Hunt defensively for Green Bay, I just don't think there's a lot of lanes inside.
Alexander, Campman got his hands on him and brought him down with a loss of 2. Have you ever heard a defensive coordinator, or any coordinator for that matter, talk like Ed Donatel talked about Aaron Campman and what he does along that defensive front? A real smart guy and somebody who's really playing for his brains as much as he is because of his brawn.
I think they've really been impressed with Aaron Campman and what he's done. And when you talk about his intelligence, most of it has been recognition and then being able to react once he recognizes the plays.
Third down and 4. Blitz coming. Pass is caught by Robinson, and he has a Seattle first down.
Well, that looked like a good spot there, Chris. I wasn't sure that he made it to the stakes.
I think maybe more significantly is that Corin Robinson caught a pass. I mean, this is your big play guy here. As far as I'm concerned, he had the game winner last week against San Francisco. You could just see his agony on the sideline after he dropped that touchdown pass, pulling his hat down over his eyes. And when you get a player of that sort of skill level, you have to get him back involved in the game. So that was a big completion.
It gets a first down. Another blitz. The pass is caught. That's Mealy again, and he's got a first down inside the 10.
You know, Joe, you were talking about Atula Mealy and what he's meant to this offense and the way that he's been able to play here in recent weeks. Coming into this ball game, 16 receptions just over the 3 previous games. So he has been a big part of this offensive package in the passing game for several weeks prior to even coming into today's game, and he's got several catches here again today.
You know, the last time Seattle came out to open the first half, at this point when they got it to the 10, they ran it twice. Let's see if they keep throwing it now to get it in the end zone.
Robinson. Some contact between Robinson and Al Harris, no flag. And it's second down and goal.
And that was awfully tight right there. They're trying to go to the post and then come back out on the corner. But Al Harris, he had the angle on that. And if Matt Hasselbeck had not thrown this ball high, good chance that ball was going to be intercepted and going 90-some yards the other way.
But Hasselbeck is so trustworthy in the red zone. 33 touchdowns, only 1 interception, one of the best ratios in the NFL.
Alexander. So on second and goal, they go back to the run, and Alexander is brought down just shy of the 5. It's third and goal.
Cledius Hunt is a guy that really had to be better than what he was at the beginning of the season. That's their quickness, their speed side, their pressure side. But probably the best thing that happened to Cledius Hunt was also when they signed Grady Jackson. Gave him a chance. Jackson got some push. The speed guys were able to get there around the corner. Let's see if they can get there now.
Only a 3-man rush. Hasselbeck fires. It is caught on a deflection. Hutchinson ends up with the catch. It's a legal catch. It's going to bring up 4th and goal as they mark Hutchinson down just shy of the goal line. Hannibal Navy's had it thrown right into his chest. You can't blame the guy for not coming up with the interception, but Seattle ends up with a completion to Hutchinson.
Well, they motion down and they go to the trip set, and he's got him right here. And the receiver, Bobby Ingram, keeps moving out of the window. Matt Hasselbeck tries to fire it in there, doesn't see Navy's, and that's why the ball is deflected up in the air.
They're going to go for it on 4th and goal. Alexander is in for the score. So let's say this, without that play by Hutchinson,
Oh my goodness.
he gets the ball to the 1-foot line. Without the play, they're kicking a field goal. With it, they go for it on 4th down and get what could be the tying score.
I mean, how heads up a play is this for an offensive lineman? He's blocking, he sees the ball, he has the presence of mind to come and get this thing and keep his team alive in this game. Matt Hasselbeck was telling us last night that this guy is probably the smartest guy on the team. He can take a New York Times crossword puzzle and do it in about 10 minutes. Paid off for him there.
He's got the best hands on the team, too.
At least today. When the Packers made the trade with Seattle to trade up and get Jamal Reynolds, who has made virtually no impact defensively for Green Bay, Seattle ended up with a number 17 pick in 2001, and the guy they got was Hutchinson. He just made a huge catch down near the goal line to set up the touchdown on the deflection off Navy's. And here's a pretty good return by Najee Davenport as he pushes it out to the 33. Hutchinson getting congratulations over on the sideline. His catch led to the touchdown, which leads to a 13-13. Kind of actually a disturbing sight here. Hide the kids. As we look at that hat.
The skunk hat.
The skunk hat.
You notice he doesn't have a date.
The guy's muskrat hat was at the dry cleaner, so he went skunk today. It's 13-13. And Amon Green is brought down by D.D. Lewis. And we look at the day for Brett Favre through the air, and I guess the numbers make you think of those Hail Marys and jump balls he's throwing up down the field.
Yeah, I think this is the real difference right here. You look at this bottom line here, 20+ yards on 4 out of 5 completions, and that's been what has set up the points for this Green Bay offense.
You know, that could have been even better, too, if David Martin had made that one catch where he jumped too early. I mean, he could have been 5 for 5.
8:45 and counting left in this third quarter. Favre keeps it and now fires. Pass complete. That's Javon Walker.
Well, Brett Favre is just tearing this thing up off of play action. Even though Amon Green doesn't have a lot of yardage running the football so far in this game, the play action is destroying Seattle. In the first half, Favre was 8 for 11 for 112 yards and a touchdown off the play action. He comes right back to start the second half the exact same way.
Why is it all the greats have their tongue hanging out when they're about to do something fantastic? Like Jordan getting ready for a jump shot or a slam. Favre's got his tongue hanging out, making completions over the middle as Amon Green's trying to break free. Ends up with a nice gain. It could have been better if not for the tackle of Marcus Trufant.
League will call that taunting at some point, Joe, if you're not careful.
Stick your tongue out?
You know, if you look at to go back to the play that Javon Walker made in these wide receivers, I mean, they've really had a good year collectively. Individually, none of those guys really steps out and captures the attention around the league. And I thought it was interesting that Brett Favre got those guys together this week, and he wanted them to know how much he appreciated the unselfishness that they have shown all season long in being team players, because they really have been unselfish, just gone out and done their jobs.
Play action again. Second down and 5. Favre floats it. Amon Green. What a play, getting back to break it up. Damian Robinson. He was beaten on the play. The ball hung up a little bit, and Robinson was there to break it apart.
And Brett Favre almost got his head taken off at the end of this throw. He is just not going to see the defensive end looping all the way around the play, and Chike O'Keefer just drills him right in the back of the ribs, and you just wonder if that one might have a little bit of a lasting impact on Brett.
3rd and 5.
And then you got the back end of it, and again, Ken Lucas on the back end, and they had a chance there to come up with a big play with Amon Green on that play.
3rd down and 5. Favre sets up and fires incomplete. Favre is screaming for a flag and won't get it. Freeman was the intended receiver.
You just wonder if this is a byproduct of what Mike Holmgren was telling us. He really felt like the 2 cornerbacks for the Packers were guys that held a lot during the course of the game. So he was going to tell the officials before the game, you tell me, if we're going to allow them to hold and to grab and to pull and to do all those things, I'm going to tell my guys to do the exact same thing out there. And I think what the officials are essentially doing is just letting them play.
Bidwell has not been good today, downing it inside the 20. He takes something off this kick and it goes backward. So the crowd is on Bidwell, the punter, as the ball will be down at the 23, only a 20-yard punt. Brett Favre's getting into it. I'm sure you are as well. 13-13, third quarter. Mike Holmgren continued to work Bernie Kukar during the break. Talking, I'm sure, about what you spoke of, Chris, that hand play and the holding with cornerbacks and wide receivers as Alexander takes the handoff, runs left, and picks up nada. Hannibal Navy's on the stop. On that last possession, Matt Hasselbeck with Mealy, Jackson, and then, of course, Steve Hutchinson, the great hands of Hutchinson, was 5 for 6 on that drive for 64 yards. And on 4th down, the 1-yard touchdown run by Sean Alexander tied it. To this side of the field, Ingram. Out to the 29. A few yards shy of a first down. Third down coming up.
They're working Bobby Ingram pretty good in there against Darren Sharper. Sharper is one of those guys, sort of a multi-talented safety. They will let him play the slot receiver in one-on-one situations when they blitz. That time the Packers tried to bring some pressure, but every time they have, Ingram's been able to make a play against Sharper.
Sharper, a former cornerback. Leroy Butler was here. 3rd and 4. Hasselbeck sets up quickly, finds Ingram. And Ingram is out to the 45-yard line.
You know, we haven't said much about Kabir Bajabia-Miller today, and he's been working both sides. On this play, he's working against Chris Terry, the right tackle, and both Chris Terry and Walter Jones have really done a nice job all day neutralizing the pass rush of KGB.
Terry suspended early this season, as we said, did not play in the first game. Matt Hill did. What a difference Terry makes. First down, Seattle. Maurice Morris running right. Popped out of bounds after a gain of 3.
You know, Morris is a guy that hasn't been able to come up with a couple of passes today, but running the football, he's been outstanding, and that's what he does. But he has averaged 6.3 yards per carry this year, and that's better than any of the top backs you want to name anywhere in the National Football League. Now, he doesn't get that many carries, but he has really been an explosive factor getting to the outside and giving them that presence.
Yeah, I think the big question on him is, can he be durable enough to carry the whole load? And that's why they have spot played him.
2nd down and 7. Hasselbeck slips, still gets rid of it and completes it to Robinson. Corin Robinson. Forced out of bounds near the 20. They'll mark him at the 19.
Got Hasselbeck running over to the sidelines, but what a great job Matt Hasselbeck does trying to get the dirt and the mud and everything else off the cleats. That's why he slipped in the pocket, but boy, what great presence to be able to not only get up after he's there, but then to find the receiver and get the ball into his hands.
I think Brett Favre would be proud of that one right there, to throw one from your knees, to have the presence, to keep your eyes up the field and find Corin Robinson. And you see some of the playmaking ability now, not only of Hasselbeck, but of Corin Robinson as well.
Hasselbeck again under pressure. Smith couldn't get to him, and that is just thrown away. It was beyond the line of scrimmage. He was outside the pocket, so no intentional grounding.
And Matt Hasselbeck has to be careful, because the one thing the Seahawks do is give up a lot of sacks. And I'm beginning to think one of the reasons they give up a lot of sacks is that he does hang in there, and he wants to try and hold this thing and hold it and try and make a play. But sooner or later, KGB or somebody's going to come around that corner and knock that ball out of his hands. He has really been taking some chances with the football.
Well, that's a great job on that play there, though, being able to get back around and get rid of the football and avoid taking the big sack.
2nd down and 10. Pass is complete again to Atula Mele, and Mele gets 8.
I'll tell you what, this Atula Mele is doing a heck of a job running some routes, and they've always known that he could be a good player for this team. He was just trying to get him to stay focused, but you watch him and he sits it down, he turns, he knows where the defenders are coming from, and you can tell by watching him and Matt Hasselbeck, they have tremendous chemistry. And right now, Matt Hasselbeck has done a great job this entire game of not making the mistake throwing the football. He's protected it very well.
3rd down and 2. The pass is complete to Jackson. He's forced out of bounds with another Seattle first down.
And this is turning into what Brett Favre did to Seattle the first time they met. They've come out here in the second half, and the Packers haven't come close to stopping Seattle.
Well, I think you've got to look at what Seattle offensively has done on 3rd downs. They're converting 45%. I talked about it a little bit earlier in this game. They led the league this season converting on 3rd down, and they've been able to keep drives alive again here today, converting some big 3rd down plays.
1st and goal, the ball at the 5. Pass is complete. Mele trying to reach for the end zone is
going to be brought down at the 1.
You talked about Mealy, and they drafted Jeremy Stevens with the #1 pick in 2002, and everybody just assumed that the job was going to be his eventually. And Latula Mealy, especially for about the past month and a half, has just been one of the most dominant tight ends in the game, making big catch after big catch. And you can tell he's a guy that likes the big game, that he likes the big moments.
But a guy who grew up Hawaii, playing the way he's playing on this kind of a day in Green Bay. 2nd down and goal. A frigid day. Hasselbeck looking. End zone incomplete. And again, it was the tight end, the intended receiver. Well, and that's what we used to always see from Mike Holmgren when he was coaching here in Green Bay. You get down there on the goal line, and he loves the play-action pass down there from the 1-yard line, and that's what he comes with here with Matt Hasselbeck. Get him out on the edge, give him a run-throw option. Just nothing there to get rid of the ball, too.
I'll tell you what, though, I think this is 4-down territory. I would pound it off that left side 2 times if I had to.
Alexander. No signal, and now touchdown Seattle. Sean Alexander is in, and at the moment it's 13 unanswered points here in the 2nd half for the Seattle Seahawks.
Just such a powerful group over there on that left side. Walter Jones, the Pro Bowler, Steve Hutchinson, the part-time wide receiver, but they really have the great ability to get the push. And now both touchdown runs by Alexander, both to that side. Everybody knows that's where they're going, and yet they're still able to get it in.
It's a 7-point lead. Mike Sherman. He and the Packers were dunked in the 1st round last year. In trouble today with Seattle visiting, now down by 7. A couple of great running backs in Amon Green and, of course, Sean Alexander. Both are under 50 yards for the day, but Alexander's been in the end zone twice. That's Lucci, the backup fullback, returning the ball all the way out near the 38-yard line. So Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers now find themselves down by 7. Under 2 to play in this 3rd quarter in Lambeau. Matt Hasselbeck is 11 out of 14 for 136 yards in this 2nd half. He was making good throws in the 1st half, but guys weren't making catches for him. Different this 2nd half, and you look at ball control, dominated by Seattle, and Favre will fire and find his fullback Henderson, who is out inches shy of the 45-yard line, a gain of 5.
You know, despite the fact that Amon Green has really been a non-factor in this game, I think you have to be careful to get away from him at this moment in the game, because typically running backs, and especially a running back like Amon Green and this great offensive line, they can take over late in a ball game. So don't forget about the guy that got
you here. Here is that guy that got him here. And Green is out to the 47. About 2.5 yards shy of a 1st down.
But it really is surprising how dominant the Seattle Seahawks have been defensively in stopping him. Even with Chad Brown out of the ball game and Shakeo Kiefer with the sprained ankle, these guys up front, Randall Godfrey and Anthony Simmons, has played a terrific game. They haven't been able to get those big gouge plays that they typically get in the running game.
3rd down and a short 3 yards. Looking left all the way, and then back over the middle, and what a catch for a 1st down by Driver. Perfect throw, and maybe an even better catch from Donald Driver. I think Brett Favre put that pass the only place that he could put it. See Driver there on the inside slot. And
wow. You know how hard that catch is right there with those cold balls and Brett Favre humming lasers in there, and the guy trying to rip it out of your hand. He gets his hands right on the ball, and somehow Donald Driver still pulls that thing in. That guy, just a terrific football player.
You can see that awkward tackle by Springs, and he is left flat on his back and getting attention from the training staff of the Seahawks. 23 seconds remaining in this 3rd quarter. And Sean Springs, who's been playing better and better as the season has
worn on, an unrestricted free agent to be. Former Pro Bowler is down, and it looks like they're looking at the left leg. Kind of bent over backward on that tackle of Driver when he picked up the first down.
Well, he and Ken Lucas have really been manning that one cornerback slot since Marcus Trufant has established himself as a starter on the other side. So I don't think it's going to be a huge drop off, but certainly when you begin to get into the nickel packages and getting 4 and 5 defensive backs and corners on the field, that's when you'll start to feel it.
Now the clock will wind. 23 seconds remaining. And so the Packers, if they were to choose, could let the third quarter expire. Looks like they're willing to try it on first down, headed in this direction. Play action. Over the middle. Amon Green. A stiff arm and a first down.
You know, the one thing we have not hit on with Amon Green so far today is the fact the only knock on this guy was his fumbles. And early in the season, he had some real problems with that. Had 7 fumbles in the first 9 games, lost 5 of them. But since then, he hasn't fumbled at all, not one time over the last 5 or 6 games, and the Packers have taken off.
And every Packer fan unites in saying, Chris, thanks for the kiss of death. End of the third quarter here at Lambeau. Seattle up by 7. The get-up that many would be envious of on a day like this.
I know I am.
That animal. Now let's just move on. First down for Green Bay inside the Seattle 30. Down by 7. What a second half it's been for the Seahawks. 5 to Amon Green. You may shut this guy down, Troy, in the running game, but those little dump-off passes and getting him the ball in open space can be just as deadly if you're the Seahawks.
Well, there's no question, particularly because they've had success getting the ball vertically down the field. Linebackers are aware of that, so they're getting deeper drops. It then opens things up underneath for Amon Green. He was not as big a receiving threat for the Packers this season relative to previous years, but he obviously can catch the ball and do something with it afterwards.
Second down at 4, and they run with Davenport. He gets to the 20. A yard shy of a first down. The game summary today, Matt Hasselbeck, who came on the air talking about Mr. August, the former backup to Brett Favre, and a guy who really idolizes Favre, has had that sort of a day. Brett Favre, 243 yards through the air, a touchdown throw to Franks. But Sean Alexander has plowed into the end zone 2 times in the second half, and Seattle's up 7.
Kevin Berry back in the game with that tight end position, their tackle. This is their power running formation.
And it's Davenport, the tailback, and it's Davenport with a first down. Wow, carrying the pile down to the 11.
You know, you get Najee Davenport in that situation, 3rd and short. He's such a good change-up back relative to Amon Green. He's a big back, 245 pounds, and can run downhill. And he's a great guy to bring in those situations. I mean, even if there's contact at the line of scrimmage, he's able to move people and pick up the necessary yardage.
The word on Sean Springs, a knee sprain. He is expected to return. Green. Still working down to the 10.
It's a great play by D.D. Lewis coming in and taking out Nick Lucci, the fullback, and just creating a pile. Sometimes on defense they talk about creating a pile so there's nowhere to run the football. And that time Lewis just came in and just cut the legs right out from underneath Lucci, and there was nowhere to go.
That's what that defensive line's been trying to do all day long for Seattle is, you know, rather than getting up, just trying to stay low and clog the lanes. And sometimes that's just as effective as beating your man.
Packers can get a first down without getting the ball into the end zone. Little shovel pass, Fisher. Down inside the 5, very close to the 3, and about 1.5 yards, maybe 2 yards shy of a first down.
It's been a great play for Green Bay. Remember them running that in Tampa Bay earlier this season for the touchdown? Bringing a guy like Fisher in, and he really is a receiver, but there's so much going on. You get David Martin in motion, and he now is going to lead the way. It essentially just turns into a running play.
Would you believe if it was 2-down territory the other way?
Oh, yeah.
Looking for a first down, if not a touchdown, the Packers will have 2 cracks at it here. Amon Green. Depends on the spot.
If he didn't make that first down, that would be the first time this season in a 3rd-and-1 situation that Amon Green did not pick up the first down.
Yeah, he did not make it, Chris.
It is 4th down.
They're not even going to come out with a measurement right now.
So now if you're Mike Holmgren, do you lose a little faith in what has been your bread and butter all season long, which is simply overpowering people at the point of attack? Do you still have the faith in Amon Green in this short yardage situation to try it again? I say yes. I think you have to go back to what got you here.
Well, they got the big package in, so you've got to believe run.
Green running left. Amon Green fights for it. He has a first down. No touchdown, but a first down just inside the 1.
And Randall Godfrey, he was there to make the play, and if he had been able to make the tackle at the point of contact, they would not have been able to pick up this first down. You're going to see Godfrey there scraping. No lineman's able to get out on him. He had a clean run there at Amon Green, and he's just got to square him up and get him to the ground. Easier said than done, but you've got to make that play in a playoff game.
That was some run by Amon Green. His idol is Walter Payton, and Walter Payton would be proud of that one.
Tries the other side, and no signal yet. They're going to mark him down. Now they say touchdown. Touchdown, Green Bay. A moment of agony for Mike Sherman and the Packers, thinking that he got in the late call, and it's 6 points.
Two blocking backs in the backfield, and they get the ball in his hands, and at the last minute he's just barely able to cross the goal line for the touchdown.
We talked about it. You don't get away from what got you here, and this guy is the reason they're in the playoffs. Amon Green's been getting it done all season.
Tie game. 10:01 remaining. Green tried the left side and got the first down, came back over the right side and got the touchdown. The Packers and Mike Sherman celebrate. We're tied again at Lambeau. Well, a good one here at Lambeau Field. The biggest favorite of the weekend, the Green Bay Packers, were moments ago trailing by 7. Now it's 20-20 with 10:01 to go. And Longwell does his best. Carter from inside the 15. Carter is out just across the 30. Amon Green, Najee Davenport, 2 big parts of this running game. Celebrate that last score. Tied at 20. There is no greater scene for football than Lambeau Field with the elements, and the elements are strong today. It is cold, windy. Mike Holmgren, the former Packer coach, is back. Matt Hasselbeck, Brett Favre's former understudy and backup, is at the controls for Seattle. A date with the Eagles on the line next Sunday. Tie game, and the pass is incomplete for Mealy. The first touchdown of the day left the hand of Brett Favre and ended up in the hands of Bubba Franks. But then on the deflection, Hutchinson the catch to set up 4th and goal, and Alexander in. That tied it, then Alexander from a yard out is in to put Seattle up by 7. But then going back to the running game, the feature of this offense that has brought the Packers to this point, a big first down on a 4th down and a touchdown run by Amon Green to tie it. 2nd and 10. Blitz coming. Hasselbeck fires high for Robinson.
The Packers are lucky He blew a coverage on that one, ran right by Mike McKenzie and had a chance for a touchdown.
Yeah, and Green Bay brings pressure off the edge. And you're right, they turn him loose, and he's got, it might be a touchdown right there to Corn Robinson if they're able to get the ball in his hands. Matt Hasselbeck makes one of the few poor throws in this game, throws it up his upfield shoulder, unable to get it to him, but man, if he was able to catch that one, he probably scores.
3rd down and 10. Hasselbeck fires down the sideline. It's tipped and incomplete. What a play. Bannister, the intended receiver, and it was McKenzie back there.
Oh, my goodness. McKenzie almost blew the last one by letting the receiver go right past him, and now he comes back, bad toe and all, and is just going to make a game saver right here. He gets fooled on the play action, and somehow it just flips backwards over his left shoulder and gets a finger on that ball to save a big, big play.
Almost looked like Seattle got away with a false start at the beginning of that play. Then the incompletion, and it's a quick 3 and out. This appears to be a false start on Seattle.
False start. 27 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still full time.
Willie Williams, the veteran cornerback, guilty.
And every yard lost is critical when you're talking about field position and how important that is. And it's very difficult to be punting in the weather that we have here today as a critical false start.
The guy used to punt in Denver, used to the cold, Ruin waiting for it. Line drive, duck. Chapman on a hop. Antonio Chapman. Bannister, a Pro Bowl special teams player, there to save it for Seattle. But at the 49-yard line, the Green Bay Packers will take over. Lucci with a big block on the return. 21 yards from Antonio Chapman. There's the block. Great field position for the Pack when we come back. He's averaging only 4.8 yards per return against him. That was the longest of the season. 21 yards by Chapman to take it out to the 49. A toss to Green. Breaking tackles. He turned that into a 3-yard gain.
How good was the move by Antonio Chapman? Watch Willie Williams coming right out here in the corner of your screen. Yeah, it happened a little bit before that there, guys. We got to see the block one more time. No, that was all right, Troy, right? Brett Favre liked it.
Look at the reaction by Favre, who's saying, just give me a chance. There's the move right in the center of the picture. And forced Williams down to his knees, and now it's 2nd down and 7. Gunn to the sideline. And who's waiting for it? Green. Brought down just shy of 1st down yardage.
Pretty good indicator right there of the arm strength of Brett Favre. And I know that there's been people here in recent years that have believed that Brett Favre has started to lose it a little bit. And I completely disagree. I mean, this guy, not only does he still have the arm strength to make a throw across the field like that one right there, but he still has good mobility and can make people miss, and has had a heck of a year
over here,
all
guys,
season
71.
long.
Less than a yard shy of a 1st down. Barry. An extra tackle is in the block. And they hand off to Davenport. It depends on the spot, but it looked like Davenport got enough for the 1st down. If not, he was brought down right at the marker. We'll see where they place it.
You know, this offensive line now begins to assert themselves a little bit, and they have been so unbelievably good this season. Just 19 sacks they've allowed. That's the fewest in any 16-game season. 5 200-yard rushing days.
First they said 4th down. Now they're going to call for the chains to come out. And it looks like Davenport just got back to the line of scrimmage. So they're going to be maybe even less than half a yard shy, but it certainly looks to be 4th down here. Kukar is going to call for the chains to make sure.
And it looked like Sherman had already made his decision to send the punter out there if this is short.
Yeah, he did, Chris. He had sent Josh Bidwell out in the punt team. A little bit surprising. I thought that they may go for it here.
See if he changes his mind. He does. Sherman changed his mind, and Bidwell will come back to the delight of this
All-time record crowd at Lambeau Field.
Well, remember now, twice on 3rd and 1, we've seen Seattle stuff them. They need another one. If they were to stop them here, boy, would it change the momentum of this game.
Green lowered his head. Did he get there? The officials coming in are marking it as if it would be a first down. They mark it inside the 41. That should be good enough for a first down.
Guy right there was the one that marked it initially, and I think he made a good mark.
Well, you look at the right foot of the head linesman there, number 26. That's where they're marking it, comparing that to where our line is at the 41. That should be a first down. It is.
So many times defenses will follow the fullback, and that time a little misdirection out of the Green Bay Packers.
The ball came out.
The ball comes out at the very end of the play, and with the officials, I guess in essence giving forward progress, they mark it good enough for a first down right at the 40, and now Bernie Kukar is going to come over and talk to Mike Holmgren.
But it won't matter, because once the whistle blows, the play is dead. They're really...
If, in fact, the whistle had blown, I think that's what they're trying to talk with Holmgren about. Yeah, if forward progress had stopped and they blew the whistle, then it's irrelevant about the ball coming out. Otherwise, then they would get the ball would be placed where it was recovered, which would then be Seattle's football.
So the question is, when did the whistle blow? Was the play blown dead? Forward progress was given for a first down. And the crowd gets on Mike Holmgren for asking for a conference, but who can blame him?
See, I think once he gets pushed back initially, that's when the whistle got blown, and then the fumble occurs as he tries to get back up. But he clearly had the first down with the initial thrust, and I believe that's what the officials are going to tell Mike Holmgren, that that's when the whistle blew.
Well, that's the only thing they can tell him, Chris. Otherwise, it's Seattle's football. I mean, there's nothing you can dispute as to when the whistle has been blown. That does not come into play when reviewing a play.
And remember, that was a 4th down carry. So if they stop him, wherever the ball was recovered behind this forward progress spot, which would be the 40, Seattle would take over. But the call will stand as Kukar's explanation to Mike Holmgren doesn't satisfy Mike. Let's listen. Possible to tell on that replay as Javon Walker, now that play resumes, has enough for another Green Bay first down inside the 30. And what a game for Javon Walker here today in his effort against Seattle.
Yeah, it really has been, because we talked about the injuries that these receivers came in with. He's been hampered with hamstring and knee injuries all season long, nagging injuries, and yet he's been able to come out without little practice this week and has done a heck of a job and has been a key contributor in this ball game.
Davenport is the tailback on first down. And Najee gets the carry and again pushes the pile to the 25.
And this is another one of those moments in the game where the Seattle defense has to be able to step up and make a play and stop Green Bay and keep them from going in and scoring a touchdown.
And you have to think they're right about that marginal area here as to whether or not they can make a field goal with the winds and the cold, and probably a 40 to 45 yard field goal would be about the maximum. Right now it would be about 42, 43.
2nd down and 6. Complete to Driver. He's down to the 20. A yard shy of a first down. Lucas on the stop.
And while they keep this drive going, both running the football and completing passes, they're taking valuable time off the clock. They got to keep that in mind. Seattle's got to keep that in mind as they move through the remainder of this drive and see what kind of position they are going to be in. It could be that Seattle's going to have one more possession if they continue to take the clock down on this possession here.
A big 3rd and 1. They hand it Davenport, and he made it look easy. First down at the 16-yard line.
Yeah, why not? You got a Pro Bowler and Marco Rivera at the right guard position. Just go right behind the big guy. And the reason the Green Bay Packers lost to the Atlanta Falcons last year was simply because this offensive line was decimated. This year, they came in here, they're healthy, they're ready to go, and right now in the 4th quarter, as they have done all season long, they're beginning to take over the game.
But the job done by Mike Wall, pulling on that play, getting over and delivering a big block.
Been doing it all day.
Amon Green right up the gut. Lost his footing. A yard shy of another first down.
I want you to take a look at Mike Flanagan, the center on this one. We're talking about individual guys. Mike Flanagan's just going to simply drive his guy right back. Anytime in the NFL you can take somebody and plow them 5-6 yards dead sideways and open up that kind of hole, there's just no way. You can't play. You can't defend that.
Again, 71, Troy Kevin Berry is in. Has an extra big body along that offensive line on 2nd and 1. They stay on the ground. It's Amon Green. And he's got another first down.
Well, there's no question that this offensive line is getting pushed, and they're driving Seattle's defensive front off the ball. And anytime you get that kind of movement, you're going to pick up big yards. And this group up front, these 5 guys, unlike last year, not one of these guys missed a game this season. And when you're able to play with that kind of continuity, you're going to have success. And each guy is a major contributor to the success of Amon Green.
They didn't know what they were going to have at the tackle spot coming into the season because of injuries and guys rehabbing. Clifton, Tasha, both have played extremely well. Behind their blocking, Green is down inside the 2. And now Mike Holmgren is going to spend one of the 3 remaining timeouts. We'll take a break. The running game featured this season, this drive for the Green Bay Packers. Packers winning all 4 games in December. Getting into the playoffs because of that completion to Poole from McCown to knock out the Minnesota Vikings with no time left on the clock in Week 17. And now here they are knocking on the doorstep, trying to take the lead. They do. Amon Green. Green Bay back on top.
Watching a heck of a ball game.
2 minutes, 44 seconds remaining. Brett Favre has said he never believed in that stuff until what's happened the last couple of weeks with the game he had in Oakland with a heavy heart, and then what happened at the end of the game out in the desert to allow the Packers to get into this tournament, as everybody's calling it these days. And it's that offensive line allowing Amon Green to get into the end zone, and the fullback block from Nick Lucci.
Yeah, Nick Lucci, they run the play that they've been running throughout this series to gain yards. They got Mike Wall pulling around. They got William Henderson in there at fullback along with Nick Lucci. And those 3 guys being lead blockers, and Amon Green does what he does best, finds the crease and gets it in the end zone.
Chris, I don't know if the casual fan believes, maybe even Packer fans or announcers when they say it, that this Green Bay offense no longer is centered around number 4. He's still a huge weapon. He's still there if needed. But they are first and foremost this season, more than at any time since he's been here, a running football team.
Yeah, and I would agree with that all the way up until today. And I think because Seattle came in with that plan that they're going to take away the running game, they're going to make Brett Favre beat them. And you know what? Brett Favre today has been nothing short of spectacular.
But that may be, but they've had 3rd and 1s, they've had 4th and 1s.
Right.
They've had short yardage situations where it hasn't been play action. It's been hand the ball off and go straight at the defense. Maurice Morris.
Morris on the return.
Out across the 30.
Henderson made the tackle.
Mike Flanagan is not only the center for the Green Bay Packer offense, but he is also the man in charge of crowd control. Prior to that touchdown run by Amon Green.
He's trying to get everybody to relax, and then shortly thereafter we saw Brett Favre on the sidelines trying to rally the defense so that they can come out here on this drive and make a stop and win the game and put it away.
Well, you know, the reason Brett Favre is who he is because he could do what he just did in that situation. Matt Hasselbeck wants to be Brett Favre. It's time for him to deliver one of those drives.
Quick setup and throw, and it's Robinson who slides down after a gain of 8.
Sean Alexander was telling us yesterday that anytime we hear Matt Hasselbeck come in the huddle and crack a joke, we know he's about to get hot. Good time for a one-liner.
1.5 yards shy of a 1st down. The Seahawks needing to get it into the end zone. Hasselbeck fires. It's complete to Jackson. He is smacked by Sharper, but not until Jackson got 15.
And I like what Seattle did after the first completion. They realized they've got plenty of time on the clock. They go back to the huddle, they call the play, and now there's still plenty of time with 2 timeouts remaining.
2 timeouts left, 2 minutes left. Seattle on the move, down 7.
50-yard line, he likes to take a shot down the field and try to score. We'll wait and see if he tries it here.
That's tipped and incomplete. Cledius Hunt got his hands on it.
One of the things we've seen out of the Green Bay Packers in their improved play and defense over the second half of the season is the pressure. They've been getting more of a pass rush. They've been blitzing more. They've been taking a few more chances. Just wonder in this situation if they're willing to dial up a blitz.
Hasselbeck down the middle of the field. The pass is caught by Ingram. Down inside the 10.
Joe, unbelievable throw on that play by Matt Hasselbeck. They go to an empty set offense, 5 receivers out, and it was great coverage as well. Bobby Ingram right here in the slot position, and he's just running vertical. Perfect throw by Matt Hasselbeck and a heck of a catch by Bobby Ingram.
Seattle just called a timeout, which now they've got the ball at the 8. Time isn't that big of a factor for Seattle. And you call a timeout, you may end up getting in the end zone and then giving Brett Favre a chance to come back the other way.
That's a great point, Joe. It really is. But I personally love to watch guys like Bobby Ingram, those punt returners that have the nerve in them that any situation doesn't bother them. I'm telling you, if you can field a punt in the National Football League with those guys screaming and yelling around you, playing receiver is relatively easy. But what a clutch play right there by Bobby Ingram.
I'll tell you what, you got to wonder if maybe the only reason, Joe, they called the timeout was to get different personnel on the field.
1st down and goal. Hasselbeck chased by KGB, incomplete.
Sometimes after a long pass like that, Joe, you don't have the time. The clock's running down, and you have to call a timeout in order to keep from getting a delay of game penalty. But Matt Hasselbeck was quick to pull the trigger on the timeout. There's KGB there running him down, putting the pressure on Matt Hasselbeck. But there is still plenty of time on the clock, and the last thing you'd want to do is score and give the ball back to Brett Favre with a lot of time on the clock left still.
Green Bay has all 3 of their timeouts remaining.
And obviously 4-down territory, so you have 3 more plays.
Just got it away, and Alexander on a toss. Hit first by Sharper. Third down and goal.
Grady Jackson again. He's come up so big. That's an understatement. But for Brett Favre, he pulled the magic. You just can't imagine what's going through his mind right now. He says he thinks of his dad every minute of every day, every play in a football game. What he must be thinking here.
Not even up on his feet, sitting on the bench while his former backup Hasselbeck tries to tie it. Over the middle, his receiver fell down, and they'll throw a flag. Nick Barnett, the middle linebacker, was back there, and Tulamili was the intended receiver, and they throw a flag in the end zone.
And it's a good call. Right here, he's going to come up and going to get the contact well beyond the 5 yards, even if it's not pass interference. It's illegal contact, but they do call the pass interference and put it on the 1.
And a
Pass
great
interference,
job.
56 defense. The ball occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed on the 1-yard line. First down.
Really great job by Matt Hasselbeck recognizing it. It didn't even appear like he was throwing the ball at him until he saw that there was, in fact, contact in order to draw the pass interference flag.
That was a third down throw, by the way, so the pass interference not only puts it at the 1, but gives Seattle a first down again. Handoff is to Alexander, and he is in for the score. His 3rd of this half.
Well, you just can't say enough about what Matt Hasselbeck has done out here today. To come into Lambeau Field, where he played, where he was a backup, he was on the practice squad 2.5 minutes ago, and he simply marches his football team down the field at Lambeau Field, matching Brett Favre touchdown for touchdown. What a game this has been.
Favre getting ready to go back to work. Anybody who's paid attention to the NFL this season knows that even extra points should not be taken for granted. Tie game in Green Bay with 51 seconds remaining. For the Seattle Seahawks, it's been a while. 6,952 days since their last playoff victory. December 22nd, 1984. It came at the Kingdome over the Raiders. And there's that play, Chris, that we were watching last night. Kenny Easley making it to ice the victory, a 13-7 win. And it's been 19 years since that playoff win by the Seahawks, the longest current drought in the NFL.
You know, I was talking to Mike Holmgren last night after all the meetings were over, and I was asking him about developing these 2 quarterbacks, because right now Mike Holmgren has been the guy that has developed 2 of the best quarterbacks in the league in Brett Favre and Matt Hasselbeck, and he really breaks them down, almost a taming of the shrew kind of thing. And you could tell he almost felt a little guilty about it. He said, you know, sometimes I know I was too hard on those guys and I beat them up too much, but these are the kind of situations I wanted to get them ready for. And to see both of these guys respond in the way they have in these clutch situations, it has to be a certain level of pride for Mike Holmgren on both sides.
I don't think there's any question. I think Matt Hasselbeck has to be extremely proud of the way he's been able to come out here on the road, as you mentioned, and have the game that he's had as well.
From inside the 10, it's Davenport. Still on his feet and knocked down across the 28. So 45 seconds remain. And Brett Favre and this Green Bay offense will go to work with 3 timeouts left.
And if anybody could do it, number 4 is the guy. I mean, as you mentioned, he's got 3 timeouts, and there's still plenty of time on the clock. With 45 seconds, it's very easy for this team to be able to get the ball in a position to try to come away with a field goal attempt.
Trying to set up a screen. tripped up and brought down at the 35-yard line. D.D. Lewis on the tackle, and it's Lewis who's playing in place of the injured Chad Brown.
I'm always just marveling at the play of the offensive guards for the Green Bay Packers. The way they can get out and pull and move and lead those screens. Mike Wall, a former wide receiver, playing guard. Marco Rivera going to the Pro Bowl. So much of the success, I believe, of this football team has been the mobility of this offensive line. They get out and run like linebackers.
And I'm sure it came as a shock to nobody that the first play was a screen pass to Amon Green. Spending their first time out, the Packers come to the line, facing second down. Quick throw, and the pass is complete to Ferguson. First down out across the 40. And Brett Favre, after initially trying to get everybody to the line in a hurry, says, let's use our second timeout.
Yeah, now they're down to one timeout left, and they're going to have to start trying to force the issue a little bit and get the ball down the field. And if you're Seattle defensively, you got to do exactly what Ken Lucas did on that play, as if keep the ball in front of you and then make the tackle if they make the catch.
It would be worthwhile if we could to tell you which way the wind is blowing and if the Green Bay Packers right now are playing with the wind. But it has no doubt swirled around Lambeau Field all day, and it would be difficult, very difficult to say with certainty that the Green Bay Packers right now are working with the wind.
Well, that, and you consider the fact that these kickers have been on the sidelines throughout the game and it's cold and trying to stay warm, and Ryan Longwell, you know, in addition to kicking in the weather.
That blue line, the area that the Packers need to get to for a Longwell field goal attempt, and here's a completion to Javon Walker. He gets it to the 30. Favre getting everybody up to spank it. Javon Walker with a tremendous capper to a fantastic day for the Packers.
And it was a good decision by Brett Favre not to burn the last time out and clock the ball. Now they still have one timeout. They can run the ball. They can try to get a few more yards to get closer for the field goal attempt. But the one thing you didn't want to have happen is for the Green Bay Packers to pick up a big chunk of yards on that play, and yet that's what Seattle gave up.
The only way you can run that route down the field, that far down the field, 20, 25 yards, is if you have an unbelievable offensive line. They held that protection for at least 4.5, 5 seconds. Credit those guys for getting it done.
It would be roughly a 48-yard field goal try from here. They hand it to Amon Green, and now they'll have to spend their final timeout and hope that Ryan Longwell can kick them to Philadelphia.
Well, and as we've been talking about, we know that this is no gimme. I think they were hoping to pick up a little bit more yards on that play than what they got. But this is going to be, what, a 46, 47-yard attempt.
The career long for Ryan Longwell, 54 yards. His season long, 50 yards. And there's the field goal unit from the kick center to the holder, Peterson, the backup quarterback, to Ryan Longwell, who could become an instant hero. Seattle now will call a timeout and try to ice, which is almost redundant on a day like this. Ryan Longwell. Longwell is the career points leader for the Green Bay Packers and has 182 career field goals coming into this game, the most in Packers history. And this would literally send the Green Bay Packers on to Philadelphia for a date next Sunday with Donovan McNabb and the Eagles.
Longwell 6 for 10, beyond 40 yards this season, but obviously most of those not kicking in these kind of conditions, either the pressure or the cold or the wind.
47-yard try coming up. He's 2 for 2 today. He's hit from 31 and 27. Good snap, good hold. The kick is short. time remaining on the clock. The Seattle Seahawks have survived regulation and this kick, which falls a few yards short of the crossbar.
And we talked about it earlier in the ball game. You just simply cannot kick this cannonball more than about 45 yards. That was a good kick. There was nothing wrong with it. He hit it well. These conditions just not allowing that ball to travel.
Well, and you saw the expression on Brett Favre's face. Twice he put him down there. He drove him down earlier before regulation and got the touchdown. He gets him back down here now with a chance to win at the end of regulation, and they come up short.
It's one of those things that you almost now, as the Seattle Seahawks, have a little momentum going into overtime, because the Packers are thinking, all right, we make this kick, we go home, we go on to Philadelphia, all those things, and it's the Seahawks that are jumping around now and have the emotion and have all that on their side.
Well, you can see Hasselbeck is having a tough time fighting back a smile as he heads out to midfield.
He gets to see Brett Favre again.
More time with Hasselbeck and Favre. The overtime rules in the playoffs. 3 timeouts per team. All replays initiated from upstairs.
Whole new ball game. We're starting all over from scratch, just like the first quarter. You're the visiting team. Who's going to call the coin? What do you call?
I'd like to call heads.
Heads is called.
Look at him, he's laughing.
Heads! Seattle has won the toss.
We want a ball, we're going to score.
Turn around.
Oh, boy.
How about that from Matt?
Seattle's won the toss. We'll receive.
His good day continues with calling heads, but then at the end you hear him, and that was over the PA system here at Lambeau Field, saying we want the ball and we're going to score.
That was great.
Awfully confident, the 28-year-old here in Green Bay. He wants to beat the Packers and head off to Philadelphia. Came into this season for Seattle after having taken over with the Seahawks 6 weeks after they dedicated Mike Holmgren Way here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Under 500. He'd been to the playoffs once. That was in his first season. But there were questions as to whether he was the right guy in Seattle. He had some of his power taken away when they brought in a GM, Bob Ferguson. And now he could come into Lambeau Field and beat the Green Bay Packers. This is Morris. He crosses the 30. And he is going to be brought down at the 33-yard line, which is where Matt Hasselbeck and company will start with it. Brett Favre getting a fresh tape job on that broken right thumb. He is wearing the splint today. Thought he might go without it a couple of days ago. But because of the conditions, it being as cold as it is, and I think in some respects that's a security blanket for him. All he can do now with that freshly taped thumb is watch. Matt Hasselbeck saying we want the ball and we're going to win. We'll find out. Alexander got one.
Little surprise there. Every time that we've seen the Seattle Seahawks take off and have a good drive, one at the beginning of the game, to start the second half, they came out and were very aggressive, came out throwing the football, and yet here in overtime they come out with a first down run.
2nd down and 9.
Well, they go to the empty set here, and they've had a number of success when they've gone to this set today.
Hasselbeck fires, and it was nearly picked off as Ingram had stopped. And it was Niall Diggs who had the ball dig in right at his feet.
Oh, that was so close, Joe. Bobby Ingram, you're supposed to, as a wide receiver, read the defense. He saw the zone, so he sat down, but by that time, Hasselbeck had already pulled the trigger. Really lucky that one wasn't picked.
3rd down and 9.
Comes the blitz.
They come. The pass. Bannister made the catch. The ball pops out. No signal from the officials yet. Still no signal. Everybody waiting to see who gets the football. Green Bay.
Green Bay brings the blitz. Hasselbeck recognizes it. He throws the ball to the slant, but Green Bay does a great job of making the tackle and not allowing him to get the necessary yardage for the first down. Bannister's got the ball. He's trying to stretch it out to pick up the first down. I think he's down.
I do too. We're going to get a review on that.
His elbow was on the ground prior to the ball coming out.
It would be a booth review.
If that elbow or forearm hits the ground before the ball comes out, it is down.
And now here comes a booth review.
No question about it.
Here's the other question, though, guys. And I would agree with you that this looks like Seattle should maintain possession, but then it would depend on
the ruling on the field.
Because where Bannister came down was awfully close on a 3rd down and 9 play to a first down. It looked like he may have been a little short, and this could just be the difference between 4th down Seattle and a punt coming up, a first down for Seattle. But I think we all agree that the Seattle Seahawks should get the ball back.
No question, and let's remind everybody that once you review a play, the entire play then is reviewable. So not only will they be reviewing whether or not the ball came out prior to being down by contact, they'll also be reviewing, as you mentioned, where the spot of that ball is going to be.
Right now, they've got the ball spotted at the 43-yard line. It was very close to first down yardage. I thought initially when the linesman ran in that Bannister was short, not by much, but short of first down yardage. I don't know what your opinion on that is.
I thought he was too, Joe. When he came in, if they had stopped him at the point of progress, I too felt that he was short of collecting the first down.
Now, have they flipped the chains already? Can you tell? I think they did.
They've changed. They've flipped the chains right now.
So that won't help them any at all. They're going to have to go strictly off of what's going on in the replay monitor for this mark.
So this could be a rather lengthy delay here.
Aren't they all?
Well, they all are, and this one is obviously vitally important to the outcome of this game potentially, and we'll see as we look at the catch. The sure tackle by McKenzie, and that shouldn't be lost in it, with people questioning his tackling ability. The ball pops out. It looked like he was down, and then the question is, where should the ball be placed?
Right, the ball pops forward in essence, so it's about 2 or 3 yards now further than where it would have been marked if he were ruled down. So I don't think it was really even close to a first down. Would have been right about the top of the 0 there. I think it's about as far as he ever gets with this ball. Maybe a little bit farther than that, yeah.
Well, they needed to get to the 43-yard line for a first down. And if that's the case, and that's what we're being told, Bannister was brought down short of first down yardage, especially when that ball hit down right at the top of the 40, which would place it basically at the 42, about a yard shy of first down yardage. And if that is the case, then it would be 4th down and 1.
Yeah, and I think right now, if you're Seattle, you're just hoping the right ruling is made and that it was not ruled a fumble, and so you can at least punt. Now, in the event that they go back and they clarify it and they say that, well, the ball was where it's going to be placed, then is a first down, and that's just an extra bonus. But right now, Seattle's just looking to get the ball back so that they can punt it and play field position.
You know, at best, it's about the 42-yard line. That's about as far as you could possibly mark that thing. And that would leave you at least a yard short. And I think Mike Holmgren would punt the football, don't you?
I think you'd have to, yeah.
Because they really haven't had much success today running the football at all, averaging just 2.6 yards per carry. I think he'll punt it, take his chances.
The only reason I guess you wouldn't is the way that Green Bay has moved the ball the last 2 times they've had the ball, both running the ball and throwing it. And if you feel your defense is tired, maybe you take a gamble, you roll the dice and see if maybe you can't pick it up on 4th down.
After reviewing the play, the receiver elbow was down on the ground, then the ball came out. It will be 4th down. 4th down on the 42-yard line.
So it is exactly where they they put it, the 42. It's a yard shy of a first down, and the punting unit will come onto the field for the Seahawks, getting ready to punt it to the Packers. So I think all the way around that was the right call. A, that the Seahawks keep the ball, and B, where it was placed. And now with Chapman waiting deep, the Packers are about to get it back.
And I want you to think where this game would be today without instant replay. I know a lot of people are opposed to it. The Packers would have had a touchdown on that tuck rule that was ruled, and now this one as well. So instant replay certainly a positive for this ball game.
For this game, but there's been a lot of other games, Chris, over the course of this season that you could argue that it has not, in fact, been good for the game.
I'm never going to convert you, am I?
No. No. Although I am happy they got it right there.
And now we'll get another conference as a line judge.
With a timer, please put 14-12 on the scoreboard clock. 14-12.
They're going to put 8 seconds back on the scoreboard clock. But we're not going to play to a tie today, Troy. I know that. So the 8 seconds is what it is. Good punt by Ruin. Chapman. Good return by Chapman. Made the most out of it. Gets out to the 26. And now it's Brett Favre's turn. And Chapman's injured.
You know, everything is just so elevated right now. Every running back, every punt returner is thinking, hold on to the ball. Don't make the big interception. Don't make the mistake. Because one mistake here essentially gives the game to the Seattle Seahawks.
See what's happened. The home team has won 5 of the last 6 playoff overtime games since 1992. Blitz coming, and that was tipped. Tipped, I believe, by Woodard. And as he got his hands up, he may have just saved a big play.
You got that right, Joe, because Seattle was bringing the blitz opposite of where Brett Favre was throwing this screen pass, and had they have been able to get the ball into Ahman Green's hands, they had linemen out in front of him and not a whole heck of a lot of defenders out there to make the play. You take a look at what he would have gotten in behind. They had a body for a body right there. He could have gone a long way.
How about Ray Rhodes dialing up a blitz on first down? I didn't think he was going to have the nerve to try it.
On second down, Favre looks back to this side of the field and just throws it up. And nearly completes it to Ahman Green. For at least the 4th time today, Brett Favre just threw it up and hoped that his player would make a play on it. Green got his hands on it, could not complete the catch.
Every once in a while, it's good to have a Harvard guy around. Isaiah Kazavinsky that time stayed backside, stayed on his assignment, and didn't give it up. Anytime all the momentum goes away from you, so easy to call back in the other way. What a great play by him.
Harvard or not, Ahman Green dropped a heck of a pass right there.
The pass is swung out to Fisher. And it's Springs making the stop. Left earlier with a sprained knee. He's back in to make the stop at the 31-yard line. And now time after a 3-and-out for a Green Bay punt.
And that's what Seattle has not done earlier in the ball game, is make the tackle and keep Green Bay from picking up first downs. That time they kept the runner in front of him. Comes up, Springs does, makes the play, and forces the punt.
See what Ingram has done. As a punt returner, 2 touchdowns in his career, 1 this season. A knuckleball. It takes a Green Bay bounce. And it is down inside the 35. They'll mark it at the 34.
And I think Brett's yelling that he touched it. Somebody touched the ball out there. That's the 2nd time today that we've seen Chike O'Keefer come all the way around the backside and hit Brett.
I'll tell you what.
Back the leg.
Yeah, that could have drawn a foul there. I mean, he definitely went low on Brett Favre.
Take a look at what Favre and some of the fans were screaming, that it was touched by Seattle, and it was not. From their own 34, second possession for Hasselbeck. That's dropped. Another drop, and it's Ingram guilty this time.
Well, this time Ed Donatel decides to bring the pressure. Seattle's in 3 wide receiver, 2-back set, and they do throw the ball. And again, another drop by one of these wide receivers. And if Seattle does not go on to win this ball game, they're going to be on this plane headed west, and they're going to be thinking about the opportunities that they missed out on just by the simple fact of not catching the football.
And you talk about playoff experience and what it means. The pressure of this moment was incredible, and Seattle doesn't have many guys that have been there.
8 drops today for Seattle. This is a completion out to Robinson just across the 40. A 3.5, 4 yards shy of a first down.
Well, third downs are so critical, particularly in a big ball game. And Seattle, for the most part today, has done a great job. They're converting 43% on third downs, and this is another big one right here.
If I have to guess, I'm saying Atula Mealy right here.
3rd and 4. Hasselbeck fires, and the pass is complete for a first down.
He tried to get it to Mealy. On the first look, wasn't comfortable with what he saw, with all kinds of pressure in his face. Goes backside to Jackson. You know, Hasselbeck, in some ways, Troy, just beyond his years in this one.
Well, I was going to say, Chris, what we're seeing is a young man develop right in front of our eyes in this ball game today. You see him playing with more and more confidence. We saw him come out for the coin toss, the smile. He had confidence that they're going to come out and play well here in this overtime, and he's making the plays now.
They toss it to Alexander. Campman was first there. And Alexander gets back to the line of scrimmage. That's it.
We talked a little bit about Aaron Campman and how smart he was. Ed Donatel was telling us his first game ever as a rookie. He was over on the sideline, and he came out at the end of the first quarter, and he said, Coach, so far in the first quarter, they've run 2 unscripted plays. He couldn't believe it out of a rookie or anybody that he was paying that much attention, was that much into the game plan, knew exactly what was going on, and smelled that one out pretty good there.
Wasn't even active that day. And it's 2nd down and 10. Hasselbeck pumps, comes back, and over the middle overthrows Jackson. A big 3rd down and 10 coming up for the Seahawks.
Boy, he had a chance. He had a chance for Darrell Jackson. He tries pumping him to the left, open up the space down the middle, and just overshoots him. One of the few bad throws, really, that Matt Hasselbeck has made here today.
This is a chance if you want to bring pressure, try and force them to throw the hot read and then make the tackle.
And that's what Green Bay's done throughout this game in 3rd and long, is they brought pressure, force them to run the hot routes, and then come up and make the tackle short of the first.
The Packers were confused defensively on what to do on 3rd down and 10, so they spend a timeout.
What a great game, huh? These 2 teams going at it with everything they have.
This is a joy, as the majority of the defense for the Green Bay Packers is over there on the sideline. Who's coming out onto the field right now? Jamal Reynolds, the guy who was a 1st-round draft pick in 2001. The Packers traded up to get him. He's been inactive the last 9 games. He's never started for the Green Bay Packers. And a guy who they used to spread way out at Florida State, now trying to make an impact in the lineup on a huge 3rd and 10.
Looks like pressure. Hasselbeck's going to audible.
They're coming. The pass is picked off. Intercepted. Back the other way. The Green Bay Packers advance. Touchdown, Al Harris. day for Matt Hasselbeck. Many of the headlines will talk about what he said at the coin flip. We want the ball and we're going to win. And he throws an interception to Al Harris for a touchdown, and the Packers are headed to Philadelphia.
Well, Joe, Matt Hasselbeck recognized the blitz. He tried checking to a route that he could get out. Al Harris knew it had to come out quick. He sat on the route, jumps the route, returns it for a touchdown, and wins the game.
And the Angels are still floating above this Green Bay Packers football team.
It has been a charmed existence for the last month plus. And Al Harris, the former Philadelphia Eagle, now with the Packers, headed back to Philly for a date next Sunday. Our producer, Richie Zients, our director, Artie Kempner, and what a job by our crew on an absolutely frigid day here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And they will celebrate long into the night as the Green Bay Packers send their former head coach, Mike Holmgren, and the Seattle Seahawks back to the Pacific Northwest with a playoff loss. Let's go down to Chris Myers. Chris.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm with Al Harris, who ran the interception back. Let's talk about the play, what you saw, and how you did it.
Man, it's all film study. Basically, the D-line, everybody gave a good rush. You know what I'm saying? Just so happened made a good read.
I mean, did you anticipate it? And then when you had it, did you know you had the end zone?
Oh, yeah. I anticipated it. I know the quarterback ain't going to catch me.
All right, how about the performance of Brett Favre in this game, and I'm on green?
Man, they always come up big for us, and we rally behind them, and, man, we're just trying to win.
And how good is this football team?
33-27, we won.
And how far you can go? You think you can go all the way?
Well, that's what we're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? We're going to take it one more step, look to go into Philly. You know what I'm saying? We're going to take it one game at a time.
All right, and just real quick on the performance of Matt Hasselbeck. He's a former Packer who came in here, had a pretty good game until that last moment.
Yeah, he played a good game. He's been looking good on film. He's played good all year.
All right, thanks, Al. All right, Al Harris, game-winning touchdown. Joe?
All right, Chris, thanks. For the Green Bay Packers, who were knocked out of the playoffs last year here at Lambeau Field, losing for the first time in the playoffs a year ago, the hands of the Atlanta Falcons, win today in overtime. They celebrate. We continue. Back with more after this.